Back here at Rams Stadium, getting ready for the start of this pivotal Bay 6 matchup. And as I'm joined here in the press box by Brandon Powell, my color commentator today, I'm Aaron Turner. Happy to be calling today's game on just a gorgeous fall day here at City College of San Francisco. You really couldn't ask for a better day weather-wise to play some football. And Brandon, I want to bring you in because you just spoke to former Rams linebacking great and former 49ers linebacker Larry Grant, who knows a thing or two about defense. And when we were chatting with each other in the pregame meeting, we really felt that this could be a defensive battle. And, of course, City College is coming off a pretty heartbreaking loss, a 13-10 loss against Laney College on the road at night in a basically a sold-out stadium. And I really felt that their defense played magnificently. It was their offense that was really struggling throughout the game. So you got to think if you're City College, while yes, their defense, we already know they're good, you got to think maybe their offense wants to come out and make a statement today, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Larry expressed to me that he felt that this defense went out there and they did a great job. Also, the special teams has been doing really well. You know, one of the things that Larry mentioned to me that I think is very important is you got to get people excited about a special teams, you know, because special teams is a huge effect, especially on your offense and the position on the field. And definitely, like, you know, any good special teams play could be a turning point, whether it's a block punt or a touchdown. And then also Larry told me they know what they have to do. They feel like they've done everything that they possibly can to not only prepare for this game, but be prepared to, as you said, win out, because they can still win the conference. Even though Laney was a very tough loss last week and they don't have a comfortable, like, you know, conference lead, but they can still pull out a win out here, and that's what they plan on doing today. They plan on playing sound football, playing their assignments. And, you know, he said he's also very proud of his linebacker core this year. He said that they've done an excellent job, and he feels like they're only going to continue to grow from there. And he feels like they can just continue to play the run, you know, play the pass, do their assignments. Just overall, he emphasized to me doing their job. You know, just doing your job, playing your assignment, and playing sound football.
So on the offensive end for San Francisco, really three different running backs on this roster can make an impact, and we were looking at them on paper before, and of course you have Anthony Hurd, who is going to be your first string running back, but just as effective running the ball, if not more effective in terms of total yards, is Jarmar Julian Jr., and they tend to complement each other really, really well. Anthony Hurd, a very balanced runner. He can run between the tackles. He can run to the outside. Jarmar Julian is built like a middle linebacker. I mean, he's 5'11", 230 pounds, and then you throw in his speedster like in terms of how they were frustrated last Friday night against Laney, Jimmy Collins is going to want to come out and make a statement on offense, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think Jimmy is definitely going to want to use these three running backs this game. DIABLO College is boasting a pretty stout run defense, but I feel like if Jimmy can just get those guys going and just, you know, get a couple good plays and then just bust through any opportunity they can, I feel like they'll definitely be able to run the football effectively. And running the ball is also going to be essential for opening up the pass, because Diablo Valley also has a not too shabby pass defense. Yeah,
very good. And in fact, looking on paper, I think that's what impresses me the most this year about the Vikings, Brandon, is that coming into this game, through 6 games, 171 yards allowed on defense. That's very good. If you're allowing as a defense under 200 yards passing, you're doing a pretty good job. And I was talking to Jimmy Collins this week before this game, and he really said to me that, you know, Diablo Valley, they play a very aggressive style of defense, and they want to force you to make quick decisions, and that was something that I think frustrated the passing game last Friday night against this Rams offense, and I'm sure that Diablo Valley will be looking at that, was looking at that this week on tape, and they took note of that. And so, you know, we're seeing on the screen these graphics with these running backs, and this is a team that makes no mystery about it. They want to run the ball to set up the pass. They do not want to rely on the pass, and DVC on the other end, they really don't want to rely on the pass. I mean, you look at the Vikings offensively, averaging just 193 yards, 194 yards if you want to round up per game, but 119 yards. And for the Vikings, it all starts with freshman number 4, Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer, averaging 102 yards per game. He is the conference's leading rusher as a freshman. And obviously, you talked about it with Larry. It all depends on your D-line and your linebackers meeting their assignments and not getting beat up front and trying to shut down that effective run game for the Vikings.
Yeah, also shedding blocks is also very important as well. You know, you got to get off your block if you want to get there. You gotta know where the line is going. Got to make sure that you're playing your gap. Don't try to play somebody else's gap. Stay in your own gap. And then, the running back is averaging 102 yards a game. That is very impressive. That is extremely impressive. You know, that guy is what we call a workhorse. A running back workhorse. So I think that's going to be definitely effective. And the quarterback kind of seems like more of a game manager. You know, he has 0 interceptions, 6 touchdowns, and he's he's averaging almost over 59% in pass completion percentage.
Well, the stage is set, and we are ready to kick things off. It'll be the Vikings set to return, and that's Tontre Pierce, who gets bottled up at just before the 20-yard line. So a short kickoff. It'll be the Vikings in their home white, or road whites rather, and green helmets, who will start first on offense. And so we get a very good look at Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer. He's a freshman at 6 foot, 197 pounds from Liberty High School in Brentwood, California, about 50 miles east of Sacramento, out in deep eastern Contra Costa County. And so this Rams defense, who I think played just a brilliant game last week against Laney, they're going to get tested early, and we get to introduce the rest of this offense for the Vikings. It starts with Dylan Graham at quarterback. He turns, gives to Kofer right off the bat, and right there is who I think the player who really had the biggest game last week. That's Franklin Banks, big number 98, and he's a big body on the inside, Brandon. Just a stout defender, and he led the team in tackles last week, and I think he really almost at sometimes single-handedly kept them in the game. And you got to think with such a good running game, he's going to get a lot of contact this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, having a guy like that on the defensive line really helps you, because that guy is a force. You know, he's a block. He's not. They're not going to very one-on-one it his way very much. So it allows your linebackers to be able to trust the linemen and trust that guy's going to get the job done.
Yeah, Sturgis-Kofer, by the way, averages almost 6 yards a carry. He gets a carry here and picks up a hard-fought 2. So right now we're seeing just kind of as I anticipated, just testing that line early, just throwing some body blows. And Kofer right there ran right between the left tackle and the left guard and picked up maybe 2 yards. So 3rd and 6, call it 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 maybe, ball at the 24-yard line. And the Rams, of course, in their old school home red uniforms with the cherry red helmets, white pants. And this is a City College team that cannot afford to lose another game. They are still in the running for both the Bay 6 Conference Championship as well as the CCCAA state title, but at 4-2, the Rams basically have to win out the remainder of their games to try and clinch anything postseason-wise. That pass off the left side, incomplete. And it was Dylan Graham looking for his receiver, John Jagari III.
And if I do say so, that was an excellent technique by number 21 on the other side, if I'm correct. He played very good technique. He stayed on the guy's hip, and then when he tried to break out, Kenyon played excellent technique on the player. He not only did he press him and then follow him, but he also came down and broke up the pass. So
and a good pass rush that time as well. I think that forced Dylan Graham to get the ball out a little quicker than he wanted to. It was a little bit of an errant throw. So this is a team that does not throw the ball a lot. Only 188 total attempts through 6 games, and that bunt almost blocked.
That almost blocked, yes.
Wow.
That was very good.
This is going to be good starting field position for the Rams, and it looked like you had a couple Rams players getting in there. That was Floyd Gordon on special teams, and right off the bat, special teams already making an impact. So Floyd Gordon along with A.J. Bolden, the 4th string, 5th string receiver, just missing a punt block there, but it'll still set up very good field position for the Rams offense.
Yeah, we had just talked about how good the special teams is playing, and they almost came up big there, and they still came up big because now this is excellent field position for the offense. The key to winning this game is that the offense has to take advantage of the field position. They're right into Diablo Valley territory already.
Yeah, so ball, I beg your pardon, ball at the 48.
Yeah, they need to score.
Of the Vikings, and Ethan Bullock will get to work. Play action on first down. Bullock, he has a man open. It's Christian Willis, and he'll take it all the way to the end zone on the opening play.
And that is what I'm talking about, folks. That is exactly what the Rams needed. Good play action pass. You know, I think Diablo was focused more on the run game, and then just hit him right over. Basic play action, hit him over the top. Threw it right over the linebacker's head, floated it perfectly right to his receiver.
Wow, so the 7th touchdown by Christian Willis. He's the team's leading receiver, and he's a sophomore that averages 55 yards a game. Well, that's his 7th touchdown now, and that was they made it look easy that time. And like you said, the Vikings really just bit on the play action there. The Rams were lined up in the pistol, and they had 2 running backs, and that looked just like a seam route, basically, just right down the field. So Ethan Bullock, who struggled last week against Laney in that passing game, he picks up a touchdown through the air, and the Rams, just like that, on top 7-0 early.
Another thing I wanted to highlight is Bullock's excellent pass to the receiver. You know, he floated it. He led him away from the defenders, and he put it on his inside shoulder, so not only could he catch it, but also keep running when he caught it as well. So that was a very great job by the quarterback. Excellent catch, great touchdown.
11th touchdown through the air by Bullock this year. He averages 192 yards a game through 6 games, has a very good completion percentage, just a hair under 60%. You can round up to 60% if you want. 5 interceptions, which we talked about, has been a little bit of an issue. Of course, 2 of those coming against a very tough Laney defense last week. But overall, a pretty efficient quarterback. And he's not asked to necessarily do a whole lot. He's not a quarterback that we can say really puts the game on his shoulders. And when you have 3 very good running backs, we see what happens. Defenses are forced to account for that running game, and that opens up plays like we just saw to Christian Willis.
And then on top of that, we saw the excellent protection that the line gave, even though they kind of stunted the linebacker. It looked like they stunted the linebacker, who I don't know if it was the middle or outside, but they tried to blitz, and the line picked it up perfectly. Yeah. Bullock didn't even have to panic.
And that was another issue, by the way, Brandon. I know you weren't at the game, but I was actually sidelined for that very tough loss to Laney. And in that first half, I really felt like the offense got a little bit blitz fatigue. I mean, Laney was just really blitzing from all angles, and give the offensive line credit. They did really, I think, do a lot better job protecting Bullock in the second half, but really it was enough to kind of frustrate that offense, as we'll have a touchback here on the kickoff. So it'll be the Vikings starting at the 25-yard line, and they really did nothing last possession. They were only able to pick up a net of 4 yards. So Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer, I'm sure, will be asked to get right back to work. And right now we'll see if this Vikings offense, which put up 23 points in a 5-point loss at home to Chabot last week, so they're 3-3. That was, of course, the basics opener for both of these teams, so both teams 0-1 in the league, with just 6 teams in it, of course. And right now the Rams, I think if you're City College, defensively, you want to try and get the ball right back in the hands of your offense. They send the receiver in motion to the Vikings. Kofer. Nice tackle in the backfield.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, you know, getting in the backfield. It appeared that 63 got a really good jump off the ball. You know, the guard didn't even know what hit him.
That was Aslan Zetterberg.
Yes, Aslan Zetterberg. That was an excellent job getting off the block, you know.
One of several players on this team from Sweden. He grew up in Stockholm, Sweden, and the 6-foot freshman, I mean, obviously when you run the ball as well as you do, and you're the conference's leading rusher, as Sturgis Kofer is, you're obviously the 1, 2, and 3 player that you're going to highlight. But, yeah, very nice job that time getting in the backfield. So a loss of 1 in that play. 2nd and 11 from the 24. Sturgis
Looks like
Kofer.
they're running a stretch. Kofer's cutting it in.
4-yard gain that time. That'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Not a bad run, you know, a little good 4-yard gain, you know, just to get a little momentum after that tackle for a loss. Looks like normally this will be a passing down, but, you know, you never know, Diablo Valley. They just might try to mix it up and run the ball.
Well, Kofer departs the field, so he gets a breather. Vikings line up with 2 receivers on either side and 3 down low now, so 5 wide. Empty backfield for the Vikings on 3rd and 6.
And Rams are showing blitz. We'll see what happens.
Graham from the shotgun, back to pass, and right up the middle, and nowhere to go. Ball comes loose. Is it a loose ball, or is he down by contact? The refs say it was down. So it looked like just untouched was Tim Finau, the sophomore from Pittsburgh High, and someone forgot to block him that time. And right, I think Dylan Graham was a little bit shocked that he had no one blocking. So nice, you mentioned to it, the Rams are showing blitz, and just right up the gut is Tim Finau.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a 5-receiver set and then you got 6 guys blitzing on the other side. You know, there's always going to be that one guy isn't accounted for, and there's unfortunately nothing Dylan could do. Yep, he just came right up the middle.
Yeah, and untouched practically, and so that's what happens when you blitz from the linebacking position. You find those seams. Another almost blocked punt. Wow.
If this special teams continues to do this, And the Rams once again have very nice field position. You know, the Rams continue to just score off of this nice field position. This is going to definitely be a easy conference win. And I can't call anything early yet, but from what we're seeing right now, if this continues, I'd say the Rams are going to cruise to victory.
That was Trent Holloway who called for the fair catch at the 45. So once again, Rams starting inside Vikings territory at the 45-yard line. They scored on the first play, a 48-yard pass. So they've only run one play on offense, and they're already leading 7-0 on the Rams. And right now they have two receivers up top. They have a fullback and a blocking tight end in, and Bullock's back to pass again. He's got time, moves to his left, now has to get rid of the ball, floats it to the sideline, and catching it, but well out of bounds, was Kendon Robinson Jr., the sophomore from Alameda, California. That's out of bounds. So the first incompletion of the game, and on the second pass attempt by Bullock, who goes over to Jimmy Collins to chat and get the second play call.
It looks like there's a flag on the field. We'll see what the call is.
Okay, then it looks like it's going to be holding. So that'll move the ball back a little bit. So ball will be moved back into Rams territory, back to the 45-yard line of the Rams.
Yeah, that's a very disheartening holding call. You know, trying to get the ball moving, and you're in your opponent's territory. Now you're starting out in your own territory. So definitely the Rams got to get something going here.
1st and 20 following the penalty. Same formation as last time. From the pistol is Bullock. Vikings showing blitz. And there may be a flag. I'm not sure if someone jumped off sides. I guess they didn't. I thought you may have gotten a neutral zone infraction or an offsides jump, but it looks like the refs let that one go, and it was a no gain on the run play. And that was no gain on the play. Same formation as last time. Receiver down low, two up top, tight end in the block. Anthony Hurd in the backfield. 2nd and 20 from the 45. Bullock back to pass. He's got time. He's got a receiver open and just over the head of Christian Willis. A little bit of an errant pass that time from Bullock. I think he would have liked to get a little more zip on that, a little less touch.
Yeah, he almost got his guy hit hard. You know, you can't float a pass like that with the safety looming over. You know, it's a good thing. I'm actually glad Christian didn't catch that pass.
Yeah, and nonetheless, it would have been short of a first down, even if he caught the ball. So 3rd and long from the 45 now, 3rd and 20.
I think they should play conservative, probably just run the ball. Don't want to throw an interception and risk giving up field position.
Bullock back to pass from shotgun. And he's going to get sacked. And coming around the edge and doing a good job of shutting the blocker was Devin Thomas, the sophomore defensive lineman. He's a big guy, 6'5", 257. He played high school football at Ignacio Valley High out in Concord. And so a good stop that time by this fairly talented Vikings defense.
Yeah, we're already seeing now that the O-line is kind of struggling to contain on passing downs.
Yeah, and that was a good pass rush that time.
Yes.
So back to receive on this punt attempt is Roman Sahugan from Foothill High in Pleasanton. High punt. It may just be a fair catch here. And it takes a good City College bounce, so it'll be inside the 15 down at about the 14-yard line, and it'll be the Vikings with a long field to start their next possession.
And just so the audience knows, just a good player to look out for, especially on defense, as we already mentioned earlier, is number 98.
That's Franklin Banks.
Franklin Banks, the guy's a real monster. Definitely, like we said earlier, is going to be important. And then another guy you should look out for is safety number 3, Galladay. You know, that guy is incredibly fast, has good instincts.
It's a Holloway.
Holloway, my bad. Sorry, Holloway. Guy's got great instinct, knows how to break on the ball. Oh. And it appears that there's been a penalty.
So the Rams called for the penalty. It's not as usual that you see the team punting get called for a penalty, but that'll move the ball up a bit. So the Vikings catch a break. It was down inside about the 15-yard line, but now the 10-yard penalty moves it up to the 25, so it's as good as a touchback. Diablo Valley, as a team, averaging 312 yards per game on offense. Rams at 390. Sturgis Kofer in the backfield, right behind the quarterback, Graham. They turn, give to Sturgis Kofer. He cuts up the middle, gets a hard-fought 2 yards. And really, we haven't really seen him get any space at all to run so far.
But yeah, we can clearly see, though, why this guy has over 100 yards rushing in game. He runs hard. You know, he just runs downhill. You know, the Rams, you know, they're going to get, hopefully they can not get tired from having to tackle this guy, because pretty soon, if you're not careful, a guy can burst through and get a big one.
Yeah, Sturgis Gopher averaging 102 yards a game, 615 yards through 6 games this year, averages 5.5 yards per carry. He has 5 touchdowns on the season, and his longest run of the year was 40 yards. Play action. And Graham just threw the ball away. It looked like it was a little bit of a run-pass option. Graham elected to keep it. He threw to the left side and incomplete. Graham on the season has thrown 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, which is very good. Throwing for 1,000 yards, averages 177 yards a game, does Graham, and has a 57% completion percentage. And again, he's only thrown the ball 188 times this season. That's comparable, you know, to, let's say, 200, 300 yards as most quarterbacks are going to see. I mean, just as a comparison, for example, Ethan Bullock has thrown the ball 124 times. So both of these teams obviously loving to run the ball as much as possible. Now 5 receivers on 3rd and 6. 3 down low, 2 up top. Sturgis Gopher has departed the field, and a flag. Delay of game, I believe. Yeah, so that's not what you want to see if you're Coach Dar, the head coach of the Vikings. So it was 3rd and 6, and that now backs it up to 3rd and 11. So a long field here for the Vikings, who just really haven't gotten anything offensively going. Right now it's just been the Rams defense shutting down any kind of momentum here, and really we haven't seen the Vikings even get past the 30-yard line.
And I think the Vikings really need to be careful here, because if they decide to blitz again, or they send more guys, I think someone's going to break loose.
Yeah, Rams showing blitz right now. They bring 4, and almost a hold there. And Graham, just running for his life, is brought down by a linebacker, and really going nowhere to go that time. And a good pursuit by Dino Kahukulelio. And again, good showing by this Rams defense. And they've really been playing some inspired football all season long. I mean, when you look at the game log for this Rams team, I mean, they struggled a little bit in that loss, their first loss of the season against Modesto in terms of a dual threat quarterback. But they've been stout all year long. I mean, especially in the passing game, and especially in terms of a scoring defense. I mean, you look at statistically this Rams team allowing just 16 points a game. That's very good through 6 games. And allowing just 269 yards. And a fake punt this time. That's going to pick up a first down. So catching everyone by surprise. And that was Dwayne Alatini.
Oh my goodness, you know, Diablo Valley is coming in. They want to win this game.
That was trickery.
That was a very bold call by the head coach. I am very shocked that they tried that.
And he was the up man, and they just basically direct snapped it to him as we watch on the replay. So Vikings running some trickery on the road and catching the Rams off guard, and that's the biggest offensive play of this game so far by the Vikings. They're still in their own territory at the 43-yard line, and their first down in offense of this game so far. So Sturgis Gopher back in the ball game. A little toss play to him, tries the left side, cuts middle of the field across the 45, picks up about 3 or 4 that time. So obviously the Vikings, they want to keep it out of the hands of the Rams offense. You can see what their game plan is. They want that clock to run as much as possible, obviously. And obviously, what's noticeable, too, is they're not quick to snap the ball. They're going to let that play clock run down as much as possible and try and keep Ethan Bullock on the sidelines and just try and slowly chip away at this very stout Rams defense.
Yeah, they don't want to get in a scoring battle with the Rams. They're averaging 37 points a game, so it's not ideal.
No. Sturgis Gopher shakes a couple tacklers and then is hit hard. Whew, he had nowhere to go. He ran about 15 yards, but he netted nothing on that one. And coming up from the safety position was Trent Holloway, and he combined on a tackle with Tim Finau, who had that sack earlier. Ronald Harge was also in there, so the DBs combining for a tackle. And now Sturgis Gopher just trying to escape and get somewhere to run, and he will depart for a moment. So we're seeing right now on 3rd down, we're not seeing a whole lot of Sturgis Gopher, and the Vikings bringing in another passing package in terms of their offensive showing. So 2 receivers down low, 2 up top, and the backup running back, Austin Williams, in the game. Back to pass, caught across the middle, is Williams. Williams still rumbling down the field across the 40 to the 35-yard line, so a very good catch and pass. That's really the first completion of the day by Dylan Graham, and that was just a little bit of a crossing route from the backfield. He started behind the quarterback in the formation and then just ran right across the field and beat his linebacker, and a good pickup that time. So the Vikings on the move now.
Yeah, the Rams cannot afford to give up downs like that, you know. Yeah, we see on the replay that the guy just ran right across, and it appears that number 4 didn't pick him up.
That was
in man
Finau.
coverage. Yeah, that was Finau.
So, Kofor with a carry, and Sturgis Kofor, nicer run that time. We saw a little bit more of an opening for Sturgis Kofor. He picks up about 6 on the first down run.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. Now they're going to keep pounding it to Kofor, and they're seeing just how long this Rams defense can hold up.
Yeah, and right now it's almost like a boxing match. They're just trying to throw some body blows, kind of test out that interior defensive line of the Rams. Just one completion so far for Graham, but it was a good completion. So gain of 3 they're going to say on the first down run. 2nd and 7 from the Rams 30. From the pistol, another give to Sturgis Kofor right up the middle. Better run that time, and it could have gone for more. Good tackle by Finau.
That was an excellent saving tackle by Trent. If I am a Finau, if he had made that tackle, he would have been gone.
Yeah, and
No
Timotei, you got to think these linebackers are going to be busy all day. It's Finau. We're going to see a lot of Frederick Tompkins as well, and of course we're going to see Trent Holloway having to come up from that safety position to make a lot of tackles. He's going to be involved a whole lot this game. 2 receivers on either side, with Austin Williams now in the backfield. Williams gets the hand up the middle and trying to drag him back, and then fighting for that first down mark. He's going to be short of it, I believe, on first down. So Williams, a short gain, his first carry. He had the catch moments ago. Now gets his first carry of the ball game. He's from Concord, California, went to Concord High. He's also a freshman. So a young, inexperienced running back core, but pretty good runners. And by the way, on the year, Williams has 133 yards on 29 carries, averages about 4.5 yards per carry, averages 33 yards a game. He stays in the backfield.
Yeah, it looks like they don't want to tire out Kofor. It looks like they want to leave him some energy. Oh, it's a play action, throws it over the top. And the pass is almost intercepted right off the fingertips of Holloway.
Yeah, that was, it looked like that was Dominic Dominguez, the intended receiver. It was either Dominguez or, I beg your pardon, that was, I believe that was Dylan Alvis. Either way, it was incomplete, and like you said, almost caught by the defender, but it falls on the ground, and Williams will stay in the backfield. Handoff up the middle. Williams breaks a tackle near the first down mark. Still fighting for yards and getting a big push from his offensive line, and a fumble on the ground, and Tompkins comes up with it, and he has a lot of room to run. He's got one man to beat. Tompkins.
He's at the 40. He's crossing. He's at the 30.
And
he's
Tompkins,
at the 20. The 10. 5. Touchdown.
All the way into the end zone. And what an awesome job by, and I beg your pardon, that was Dino Kahulehio. That was not Tompkins. The flag's on the ground. And this could be coming back depending on the call. But right now, a huge pickup and a fumble. And if it stays a touchdown, what a run by Dino Kahulehio.
Also, what an excellent job by the defense to keep the running back up so that they can come in and just strip the ball away from him.
So an illegal block in the back, but I believe it'll still be Rams ball. So the touchdown is erased, but a turnover, and that's something that the Rams defense really prides themselves on as creating, is a lot of turnovers on defense. And when it's all said and done, the ball is spotted at the 35-yard line of the Vikings. So Rams offense will take over. They're up 7-0, and the first turnover of the ball game is committed by the Vikings. That's just too bad for the Vikings. They were marching, and they were inside scoring territory. They were in the red zone and just could not come up with it. So once again, this Rams defense causing frustrations for an opposing offense. What else is new? It'll be Bullock from the pistol. And a bit of a stutter step, and now a Rams fumble the ball themselves right back in the hands of the Vikings. Rumbling the other way. And the ball came out again, and then the Vikings fall on it. So Dion Folau came up with it. I believe the ball came out at the end of that play. Vikings maintain possession, and then another flag comes in out of nowhere. So we'll have to sort this out. But right now, these teams just exchanging turnovers. So 2 plays, 2 turnovers. Rams come up with or commit a fumble of their own, and an injured Viking down on the play as well. So what a crazy couple plays there.
Yeah, if you're the Rams offense, you cannot afford to turn the ball over like that. Partial responsibility is for Bullock, who dropped the snap, and then the running back, he just got hammered, and he didn't even see the guy coming, it looks like. And the ball just fell right out. They had a chance to pick it back up with the Vikings fumbling the ball, but...
So, Vikings will get the ball back, and unsportsmanlike conduct called on the Vikings, so maybe something said on the sideline. Meanwhile, there is an injured Viking down on the play, and...
Yeah, the excessive celebration we saw.
So it'll be Vikings ball, and right now I'm waiting to see where they spot the ball. After the penalty, it'll be moved back just across midfield, so it'll be on the Vikings side of the field at the 47-yard line of the Vikings following the penalty, but it will be Vikings ball. So Rams come up with a turnover. They get a fumble. They do take it into the end zone, but a block in the back erases that touchdown. Then on their first play from offense on the following possession, they commit a fumble of their own. So the team's exchanging turnovers here. 3:25 still to go in this first quarter. Rams up 7-0 here at George Rush Stadium. Beautiful day here in San Francisco. Aaron Turner, Brandon Powell, happy to be calling today's game. The Rams, of course, at 4-2. They need to win out the rest of their basic schedule to have a chance to stay alive in both the conference and state championships. And we will try to get you updated on the rest of the Northern California Junior College football games as this broadcast goes on. Of course, a huge game today with Laney taking on CSM. College of San Mateo, of course, the #1 team in California. As of today, they were the #2 team in all of California, #1 team in the north. And they, of course, have a huge matchup at the end of the regular season right here in this very stadium, and we'll be calling that game against the Rams. So following the injury, it's Vikings ball. They'll start at the 47-yard line, and both teams now committing 1 turnover and losing a forced fumble. Sturgis Cofer back in the ball game. 2 receivers down low, 2 up top. 1st and 10 from the 47. Back to passes Graham. Looks to his left. It's complete. Pickup of about 7.
Yeah, and that was just a little quick out route. You know, the DB couldn't quite keep up with him. He just cut it out right there. The DB tried to cut, but he couldn't cut with him. So it's just a little quick out route, just a little quick gain for 2 yards. And like we said, for 5 yards, like we said earlier, you know, this team likes to do short passes, and they rely on their guys to run and gain them yards. Yeah,
that was Justin Zimmer, the freshman, who caught that last pass. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Ball up to the 46-yard lines of San Francisco. Sturgis Cofer right up the gut. And he's going to get a first down. Nice run by Cofer. So you see he's not the biggest guy is Sturgis Cofer. I mean, on the roster, he's listed at 6 foot, 197 pounds, but you see he gets a lot of yardage just falling forward. And he picked up about 4 there, which is just enough to move the chains.
Yeah, the guy runs like he's 6'3".
Yeah. And you see why he's able to run the ball so well and why he's this conference's leading rusher. 1st and 10. 41-yard line is where the ball is spotted. Vikings on the move again, down 7-0. Graham back to pass. Under pressure, he's going to get sacked again. And nice pressure that time. That was Elliott Johnson.
Yeah, and also one excellent job by Godfrey for taking away his first read.
Yeah.
The quarterback was looking to the left and was going to throw that streak route, but Godfrey almost baited him into making a very bad decision, a very bad throw. And then the defensive line cleaned it right up.
So second sack of this first half for the Rams. 2nd and 15, loss of 5 on the sack. And right now the Vikings rotating a lot on running backs, so Austin Williams is back in the ball game in the backfield. 3 receivers down low, 1 up top from the 46-yard line. Graham back to pass, looking right, and then he wants his receiver. It's just a little bit too low. He was looking for Roman Sahugan. That was the 2nd attempt to him, and that brings up 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. You know, the Rams have to be very careful. You know, it looks like the Vikings are really going to try to throw it deep now, so the DBs definitely have to be on their toes.
And Dylan Graham who averages just 5.5 yards per attempt. So this is obviously a team in terms of the way they design their offensive routes, a lot of crossing routes, a lot of shorter routes, and obviously not a team that wants to have to rely on the deep ball if they can avoid it. 3rd and 15. Williams stays in the backfield, and this is Graham from the pistol, and then movement up front, and we may have a false start, which might move the ball back even further. At least that's what the Rams defensive line thinks. And it will be a false start. 3rd penalty of the ball game by the Vikings.
Yeah, and we can clearly... We can clearly see in this game both O-lines struggling to keep themselves penalty-free and to block their quarterbacks.
Yeah. So 3rd and 20. Ball moves to the 49-yard line of the Vikings. Williams in the backfield. They fake it to him. Rolling right is Graham. Under pressure, he just kind of lobs the ball up and throws it out of bounds. And he still manages to take a hit at the end by Mark Simon from Houston, Texas, the freshman defensive line there. Still got some contact on the quarterback. No flag. It was a clean hit. And right now Graham gets up a little bit gingerly from the turf. And a punt will be upcoming. At least you got to think so. They did fake the punt last time. But at 4th and 20, you got to think that they might just decide to punt it away and play for field position. Holloway will be back to return for the Rams.
It was 4th and 15 the last time they tried.
That's true.
This,
yeah,
so
you never know.
You never know. You never know. Now that you never know with these guys. And I think our special teams coach that I spoke with earlier, Larry Grant, was very angry on that play. So now I'm pretty sure he's going to say, watch out for fakes as well.
And you see Grant on the sideline. Of course, Grant, the great linebacker here. He played his college football at The Ohio State University, was drafted in the 7th round by the 49ers. Saw some time in training camp, and so he knows a thing or two, not just about special teams, but about defense in general. And delay of game moves the ball back even farther. So right now the Rams subbing out there. I think they were a little suspicious as we see a whole new line coming out, subbing out and trying to get off the field before that snap. Almost a block punt again. Ball comes out sideways. It takes a very good Vikings bounce inside the 20 down to the 14-yard line. So the Vikings catch a break that time, and the Rams will start with a long field. Back on offense, up 7-0 with just 1:23 to go in this first quarter.
Yeah, and speaking with Larry Grant, you know, he emulates his game. He also emulates his coaching style off of Mike Singletary. Mike Singletary, for those who don't know, was a legendary Bears defensive middle linebacker. He was on the 1985 Super Bowl team that obliterated the Patriots. Mike Singletary coached the Niners from, I believe, 2008 to about 2012 before Harbaugh came. And yeah, just a really good. I've been hearing great things about him from Larry. Just a good players coach, and that's what Larry's trying to help them to do. Be a good players coach for his special teams to get them excited and to get them to working so that they can play well for the offense.
Following the penalty, ball from the 9. Bullock under pressure, but it's caught by Willis. And Christian Willis, he has enough for a first down and a 22-yard completion. So the second catch of the day by Willis, who already has the 48-yard touchdown pass. So a good day so far for Christian. It really hasn't been a whole lot of pass attempts so far in this game by Bullock. But a good route that time, and Willis almost went for more there. Good saving tackle to prevent more of a gain there, but that moves the ball up to the 33-yard line, so 24 yards on the completion.
Yeah, but we can see from the replay he had pressure coming from his left. He barely got that ball out. Yeah,
and it was the pass rush again, forcing Bullock to think quickly, and Bullock lobs a pass up. This time he's looking for Robinson, some contact, and the ball just a little bit too far. Robinson was covered by 2 Vikings that time. It was Antoine Prowess along with Zane Cribb. So right now Ethan Bullock gambling a little bit.
Yeah, that was a great, excellent coverage by the Vikings secondary, you know. And also that was a great technique by the cornerback, just knocking the hands of the receiver away, especially from Christian Willis. You know, he tried to get some separation, but just couldn't get it. So.
And that was actually Robinson who was in double coverage. But yeah, and the pass was also just a little bit too long for him. Otherwise, it may have been a possible catch. 2nd and 10, and now Jarmar Julian. And really, we haven't seen a whole lot of rushing attempts so far, but Jarmar Julian, who we're going to see a lot of Anthony Hurd, and Julian, the bigger-bodied back at 5'11", 230 pounds, gets stood up there, and I think he just got back to the line of scrimmage, so nothing doing on that running attempt, and that brings up 3rd and 11. They're going to say he lost a yard.
Yeah, Julian has been getting swallowed up this whole game, and just the running game in general this game. It's been really the pass game, which we said earlier we thought that they were going to run more, but it looks like, you know, the pass game has been the most effective thing that's been working for the Rams, so I guess maybe they should just stick with that for now.
Julian stays in the ball game. He's to the right of Bullock. And caught by Robinson. Robinson is going to be short of the first down by about 5 yards. It was a short pass play. I think he may have picked up 5 or 6, and that'll bring up 4th down, and we may see a punt now by the Rams. And that should be the end of the first quarter. So the Rams score early on their opening game play from offense, but both defenses have settled in nicely here. And after 1 quarter of play, Rams lead just 7-0. And they will keep the ball here, and it will be decision time for Jimmy Collins and company as they bring up 4th down. And really kind of what we expected. I talked about, while you were on the field, I was talking about in my opening monologue about how I expect this to be a defensive battle, and it turns out I might have been right. I wasn't expecting either team to score over 20 points this game, and you never know what could happen with defenses getting tired, but so far it looks like both defenses up to the task of containing the other offense.
Yes,
And back here at Ram Stadium, we apologize for the technical difficulty. And that was a 2nd down play, which resulted in a sack. So the Vikings are backed up deep in their own territory following a very good Rams punt. So right now we're just seeing very good defensive play from both teams. And the sack moves this ball back to the 5-yard line. And Vikings staring at a 3rd and long on offense. 3rd and 18 from the 5-yard line, and we may just see them run the ball with Sturgis Kofor and play it safe. But you were mentioning, Brandon, that the only issue you saw from the Rams defense was that these running backs are getting open in the passing game a little bit, and there's a pass to the right side and well short of the first down. So right now, but both defenses, I really got to think, both defenses are causing a lot of frustrations for their opposing offenses, and it's remained really a defensive battle as we start the second half here, very early on in the second quarter, I should say.
Yes, definitely. From what I'm seeing is the defenses for both teams are doing it differently. You know, the Rams are playing a little more man coverage, and they're really locking up these receivers. You know, they're just playing with one free guy, and they really trust their cornerbacks on this team. And then for the Vikings, you know, they're playing with the safety over top, and they have a corner playing underneath, so kind of a cover 2 look. Mm-hmm. So definitely, like I said, it's going to come down to the offense making big plays when it matters. And
wobbly punt, and out of bounds at well inside Vikings territory. I'm trying to figure out exactly where it went out of bounds, somewhere between the 30 and the 35-yard line. So once again, the Rams will start in very good field here, very good field position inside Vikings territory.
Yes, definitely. And once again, see the special teams, they almost got a block. Almost blocked.
Yeah, they've come close to blocking about 3 different punts today, has the Rams special teams unit. So special teams coordinator Larry Grant, former 49ers linebacker and Rams linebacker, you got to think he likes what he sees from his special teams unit so far, putting a lot of pressure on those Vikings punters to get that kickoff very quickly. So from the 35-yard line of the Vikings is the Rams offense. They have 2 receivers down low. Ezra Grace in the slot. Bullock back to pass. He's got pressure. He got to hang on to the football. It was knocked out of his hands, and good job by Bullock just a fall on it. That was Etiva Mauga Clements, the sophomore linebacker, coming off the edge and doing a very good job of momentarily knocking the ball out. That was almost the second Rams fumble of the ball game.
Yes, these guys are getting – I'm just looking at this offensive line. They're just getting beat off of the ball.
Yeah, that edge rush is really creating some problems for Bullock in the passing game.
Yeah, especially for the tackles. You know, the tackles are getting completely blown up by these stump blitzes. And it's just really hard for Bullock because, like I said, they have safety. The safeties are coming in the box, and they're playing over top of the routes. So the Rams have to find a way either to run or they got to find a way to pass it more quickly.
So this is Jarmar Julian. Bounces off his own man and dragging tacklers back to the original line of scrimmage. It was 2nd and 17 following the sack, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10 after a 7-yard run. But really not a whole lot of yards on the ground for the Rams so far. And it's been Julian, the bigger back, trying to offset the fairly good size defensive line for DVC. The Vikings, of course, coming across the bay today following a 5-point loss last Friday night at home against Chabot. And certainly at 3-3, you got to think this is kind of a must-win game for both of these teams. And they're really both playing like it so far. Vikings overload the left side. They bring 5 on the blitz. Bullock is going to roll left and keep it himself and nowhere to go. He'll lose yards. That'll be counted as a sack, and that'll bring up 4th down. So right now, Bullock under a lot of pressure. And not a whole lot of time to throw the ball is Bullock when he does want to throw, and that'll bring up another Rams punt. So the Vikings defense doing another good job.
Yeah, Bullock is holding the ball for way too long right now. They need to get some quick throws, or they need to start running the ball more effectively because Bullock is getting swallowed up. And his tackles need to do a better job of getting their stance and blocking him, because if he keeps taking hits like this for the whole game, they're not going to do well.
Yeah, and another punt coming up from the Rams. And we'll see if they just try to pin the Vikings deep. It's a fair catch called. It takes a bounce at the 5-yard line and then inside the 1. So this may, as long as he didn't step on the bounce, on the end zone, this is going to be a beautiful punt and down at about the 2-yard line. So 98-yard field is what the Vikings are looking at on offense. Certainly, if you're the Vikings offense, that's, again, not what you want to see in terms of having to go 98 yards when they've already had a lot of trouble moving the ball against this very good Rams defense. Beautiful punt that time.
Yes, this is a big chance for the Rams defense. If they can get in that backfield and get this safety, not only will that give their defense momentum, but their offense will have more momentum to score.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the flip side, if you're the Vikings offense, you got to be careful not to give up that safety. You got to think they're just going to try and either run a very short slant here, try and get some forward progress, or just run the ball right up the middle. They have a dual back set with Graham from the shotgun, and they have a lead blocker they give to Sturgis Kofor, I believe, and he's just trying to get anything forward to get out of that end zone. Picks up maybe 2 yards that time up to the 4-yard line.
It appears we have an injured Viking on the field. Guy is slow to get up, number 50 on the Viking side, but he's up now. Number 59, he tried to throw a blindside block, but then it appears he got some helmet-to-helmet.
That's Tyler Clemens, sophomore lineman from Alhambra High School in Martinez. So gain of 3, that moves the ball up to the 5-yard line, which is something for this Vikings offense, gives them a little bit of space to work with. And Austin Williams is in the backfield, so no Kofor this down. 2 receivers up top, no one down low. Williams gets the handoff from the shotgun. Williams fights up the middle to about the 9-yard line. Gain of 4 on that one. That'll bring up 3rd and let's call it 3.
Yeah, it appears that the Rams are really trying to keep the running backs up here, because since they know they're going to run the football, probably what I'm seeing, the Rams are emphasizing trying to strip the ball out of those running backs' hands.
Yeah, it worked one time already, right?
Yeah, definitely, and they're trying to do that again. It appears that they know which, because when it comes to Kofor, they don't try to do that, but the other running backs, it appears that they really think that they have a chance to just really get that ball out. And here is a toss-up. You know, it could be a run or a pass. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, 2 receivers down low. They basically just flipped the formation from last time. Williams again with the carry, trying to get the first yardage on the ground, and he runs right into a scrum. It'll be close. We'll see where they mark it. It's kind of hard to tell from our angle here in the press box exactly how far he got, but I believe with the way the defense is responding, I think he was just a yard or 2 short. He had 3 to go. He may have only gotten 2 that time. Yeah, maybe 1. So that brings up 4th and 2. And now decision time for the Vikings, and yeah, they are going to wisely punt this ball away. And right now, with so much pressure we've seen on the punt coverage from the Rams, and we'll see if Larry Grant decides to dial up more pressure here and maybe try to block this punt with the punter standing in his own end zone. And yeah, and Diablo Valley College calls a timeout, so they want to talk things over right now. And I think they may have been seeing exactly how much pressure the Rams have been getting on that punt, and the last thing they want is a blocked punt and possibly some kind of touchdown, defensively speaking. So yeah, like you said, and a very interesting start to this game. You know, both teams really, like I like to call it body blows. Both teams really playing fairly conservatively offensively. We haven't really seen anything explosive with the exception of that opening play by the Rams. And it's really been a dominating defensive performance from both sides so far. And at some point you think, it really, I think, may come to whose defense has the most conditioning, so to speak, and who has the most stamina and endurance in this game. Because I think if you're Jimmy Collins, the fact that you're up 7-0, maybe your offense has been a little bit slow, I think you're going to live with that and you're fine with that. What you're hoping is that you can tire out this Vikings defense come second half, come third and fourth quarter. Maybe some holes open up for guys like Anthony Hurd and DeMonte Alim, the speedsters, and maybe give a little more protection for Bullock, and he can find some receivers open down the field.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to get the run game going and open up the pass. As you saw at the beginning of the game, when the Vikings are forced to respect the the Rams' run, then they're able to run play action. And these receivers, they can beat these guys one-on-one. But right now, it appears that the Rams are getting ready to
the thing is, they're just Bullock's not getting enough time to throw.
Yeah.
So, German Acosta with the left-footed punt. High punt, bounces at the 40, then takes a Ram bounce back to their 40 of the Vikings. But once again, the Rams are going to start inside Viking territory following a 35-yard punt. And Bullock, who has been kind of running for his life in this first half, we'll see if his line can give him a little more time to throw. And right now, it's really, I think, been maybe almost more impressive showing by the Vikings defense. The fact that the Rams have started inside Vikings territory nearly every time following a punt, and they only have 7 points to show for it so far.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this defense is doing an excellent job against the Rams offense. And we've seen, like we saw from the numbers earlier, the Rams are really good on offense. They've been averaging a lot of points, a lot of yards. And we'll see if they can maybe try to and it continues to get stuff.
Yeah, that was Aleem this time. So DeMonte Aleem, the third running back on this roster, averages 5.5, basically 6 yards a carry, averages 31.5 yards per game. And he's probably, in terms of just being pure speed, the speediest running back on this roster. And he's going to stay in the ball game. So we've seen Jarmar Julian. We've seen a little bit of Anthony Hurd. Now it's DeMonte Aleem's turn. And Jimmy Collins has said that he likes all 3 of his starting running backs, and really any of them can go off at any time. It's Aleem in the backfield, one receiver on either side. The turn and give to Aleem. He's got a hole. Aleem cuts over across the 30, stiff arms a tackler across the 20, runs over another tackler, and is pushed out of bounds at the 18-yard line. So 23-yard run from Aleem, and that's the biggest run play of the day by far by the Rams. So now we're starting to see some holes open up and better run blocking that time from this offensive line as well.
Yes, that is exactly the play that the Rams needed, especially after that loss. Now we can see maybe they use that as momentum to keep the run game going, and then they can open up the pass more.
Ball down to the 18-yard line following the 23-yard run by Aleem, who stays in the ball game. Rams have 2 receivers down low. Bullock from the pistol on 1st and 10. Aleem again the carry, up the middle between the tackles. Aleem falling forward, not a bad first down run actually. Picks up about 5 or 6 that time. So the Rams keep it on the ground, try not to put too much pressure on their passing game. And number 29, who has 1 touchdown on the ground this year. His longest run of the year has been 21 yards, so he's already eclipsed that today on that last run. And same formation as last time, with the 2 receivers down low, blocking tight end to the left of the formation, and Bullock in the pistol with Aleem behind him. Play action. Bullock rolls right under pressure, keeps the ball, floats to the end zone, and that may be picked off, and it is. He was looking for his receiver, but threw it right into the hands of Zane Cribb. And not the greatest throw that time from Ethan Bullock. He was under pressure. He was being chased. He tried to get, I believe, to Kendon Robinson Jr., but he did not see the double coverage there. And so his 6th interception of the year, and that kills that drive. So ball right back in the hands of the Vikings. 2nd turnover by the Rams.
Yeah, I was looking at those routes, and I was looking at that pass. I saw nobody open. No one was open.
Well, Robinson was open kind of in the back of the end zone, but he had 2 defenders in front of him. That's a tough pass, especially when you float it up like that. So I think Bullock was just trying to make something happen, but he'd probably like to have that throw back. I think if you ask him, he'd say, I'd rather throw that ball away and live to throw another day. So that's been a little bit of an issue for Bullock this year, has been the interceptions. And his 6th of the season, he had 2 last week against Laney. So from the 20-yard line, Vikings offense back to work. Graham looking left, and miscommunication with his receiver. He was once again looking for Roman Sahugan, and he just hasn't quite been able to develop that connection with the 6'2 sophomore today. They've looked his way about 3 times, and he has yet to have a catch.
Yeah, and number 23 has been doing an excellent job. That is Mr. Harge. Harge has been doing an excellent job on coverage, and just right there, we saw that Hargridge didn't bite on the out and up.
Yeah,
he was right there with the receiver, staying with him.
It was also not the greatest throw either, Brandon. It was a little bit out of the reach of Sahugan. So Vikings on 2nd and 10 following the incompletion. And timeout may have been. That might be the Rams calling a timeout. So, interesting game so far. Rams committing 2 turnovers, 1 via fumble, 1 via interception. They've also, of course, caused a fumble of their own. And up 7-0 right now. It's still 6 minutes left until the conclusion of this first half, but you got to give credit to both defenses and also give a lot of credit. We've been praising the Vikings defense for how they've played, but give a lot of credit to the Rams defense as well. They really have allowed nothing to transpire offensively by the Vikings. I think they've shut down any kind of weapon that the Vikings have had. We've seen nothing so far. I mean, Tyrell Sturgis-Cofer coming in, averaging 5 yards a carry. He's well below that this game. And a guy who has 600 yards so far through 6 games, I mean, he's going to be well under his average today, at least in this first half. So give a whole lot of credit to that Rams offense, or I beg your pardon, the Rams defense for shutting down that running game so far.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I really appreciate how confident the Rams are, not only in their defense, but especially in the secondary. You know, we thought this was going to be a game where it was going to be about ground and pound, the safeties coming up, but the Vikings have passed surprisingly more than we thought.
Yeah, and obviously they're trying to maybe buck the trend of being just a running team. Sturgis-Cofer on the option. Nice stiff arm that time as he's near a first down. And he had Brian Thompson trying to come up and make the tackle. He stiff-armed him, but Thompson was able to stick with him just enough to bring him down. And that was just enough for a first down. So pickup of 11 that time. Nice run by Sturgis-Cofer. That's one of his better-looking runs of the day so far. And showing that he can get a little bit physical, too. And he shed his tackler, brought the ball up to the 30-yard line, and that moved the chains. Just maybe the 3rd first down offensively for the Vikings. Cofer stays in the ball game. He's behind Graham in the pistol. Graham's back to pass. He has time. Floats the ball up. Ooh, dangerous pass into double coverage. No one was near him. It was Holloway, the nearest receiver. And he was once again looking for Sahugan, who was covered one-on-one with his man. And then Holloway also came over to help. But right now we're seeing a little bit of inaccuracy on those deeper passes from Graham.
Yeah, definitely, and he's such an accurate quarterback. He's been having a lot of trouble with trying to throw in this game. And then we see, just like we said earlier, Holloway with that excellent support over top just ran right as soon as he saw the fade coming, knew the quarterback was going to throw, and he just reacted, and you could see he's right there.
Yeah, and Holloway is a player that Jimmy Collins calls maybe the best safety in all of California, and that's pretty high praise for a freshman who will be back here next year. A little stretch running play. Vikings try the zone run that time, maybe a yard, if that. So Austin Williams. So we're seeing a pretty much a even split in terms of Austin Williams and Sturgis-Cofer being on the field at running back. Williams will depart. Cofer checks back in. So obviously the Vikings, knowing that the runs will be important, trying to keep both players as fresh as possible. And 2nd and 9, so they're going to say that Williams got 1 yard on that run. Ball still at the 31-yard line of the Vikings. The Vikings have only been across midfield once today, and they got all the way down inside the 10-yard line and then committed a fumble. So that was the only time they really were threatening, and then the Rams defense came up with a big play. 3rd and 9, play action. Graham almost intercepted it. Oh, and it is dropped. It was bobbled around by Frederick Tompkins, and he probably should have had that one. And he put his hands on his helmet like, what am I doing dropping that? But nice pass breakup, and Tompkins, one of the leaders on this Rams defense. Him along with Tim Finau anchor that linebacking core. Of course, you have Tadarius Patterson and Franklin Banks at the D line, and then Trent Holloway at the safety position. Those 5 players, I think, really are the core of this Rams defense. And so a break for the Vikings offense, because that would have been an interception inside the 40-yard line. Instead, it'll be a punt, and Holloway back to return. And a fake punt this time. Vikings pick up another first down. The second fake of the day, and once again, it's Dwayne Alatini. So it was basically the exact play that they ran last time, a direct snap to the up man and catching this Rams special team snapping again. So that's something that Larry Grant is going to probably have to get into his special teams unit for. You can't let that happen twice, can you?
Yeah, and then A.J. Bolden had a chance to make a huge tackle, but then he got stiff-armed right down. Yeah, As you can clearly see, he had a shot at him and he just missed the tackle.
Yeah, and he was. And that's not. Again, if you're teaching any level of football, you can't try and tackle someone at their ankles. You got to try and stand him up. And Sturgis Kofer on the first down run. He has a first down and then some across the 40 down to the 35. So a 20-yard run that time from Sturgis Kofer. So special teams trickery pays off, and then that gets a little momentum for Sturgis Kofer. That might be his biggest run of the day so far. And City College wants to talk things over, and Jimmy Collins not liking what he sees from both his special teams and his defense that time. And Vikings back inside Rams territory for just the second time today, and they're at the 39-yard line of the Rams, or 34-yard line, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, and this is why I can see they wanted to keep Kofer fresh, because now the Rams defense getting a little tired right before halftime. They're trying to really punch this in because they don't want to go into halftime with anything less than a touchdown. Diablo Valley, especially with that fake punt, they're really thinking they want this touchdown.
Yeah.
And the Rams are going to have to stand up and stop them if they even want to hope to win this game.
Well, and at 3-3, I mean, with another loss, you got to think their shot at any kind of conference title, if your DVC is over. They would be 0-2 in the conference. They would drop to 3-4. And, of course, the Rams at 4-2, they still have their sights, if they win out the rest of the schedule, not just a Basics conference championship, but a shot at the state title. And they can do so if they win the rest of their schedule and beat the #1 team in all of Northern California, CSM, in the season finale. So it's the ball at the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 Vikings, who are marching once again, trying to get on the scoreboard with still 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Sturgis Kofer is in the backfield, 2 receivers on either side of the formation, with Graham from the pistol. He's back to pass as Graham. He's looking deep, and on one-on-one coverage, and nice, beautiful coverage that time by Isaiah Mays.
Yes, that was excellent coverage. You know, he stayed on his hip. He didn't panic when he was running deep. And then on top of that, he made sure he got his head around. That's a very important thing for a DB, because if you don't get your head around and you go for the ball, you get called for a pass interference or holding. And
that was a Sahugan, by the way, again, Brandon, who they were looking for. So they've been looking his way a lot, have the Vikings towards number 10. They have yet to connect, though. And, yeah, just very good coverage on that play by Mays. So 2nd and 10 following the incompletion. Ball stays at the 34. Same formation as last time. Stretch play, Sturgis Kofer cuts inside across the 35, maybe picked up a yard or two that time. So good stop that time, and much better look from the Rams D-line to prevent Sturgis Kofer from getting anywhere. Meanwhile, shaken up a little bit at the end of that play is Giovanni Spinelli, the freshman from Pittsburgh High. And he's slow to get up. He stays on the ground, and this is an offensive line, I think, that has played fairly well so far for the Vikings. They have allowed a couple sacks, but they have also given Graham a fairly good opportunity, in my opinion, to throw the ball when they have called passing plays. And that'll, after they assess the injury on the field, it will be a 3rd and 8. So it was a 2-yard run by Sturgis Kofer that time. So you got to think this is decision time right now for Coach Dar of the Vikings. Do you throw the ball here? Do you try and run? You got to think they're probably going to dial up a pass play on 3rd and 8. It's a bit too far for a field goal, you got to think. That would be like NFL length. That would be about 50 yards from this spot. But right now, the Vikings, they want to just pick up a first down, and they obviously want to get on the scoreboard here. But give a lot of credit to this Rams secondary. They really haven't allowed any kind of deep pass. We saw the one successful pass to Austin Williams, and that was really the only successful pass play that I've seen all day from Tyler Graham. So good job by the Rams defense, and it looks like, fortunately for the Vikings, Spinelli is able to get up under his own power. He gets a round of applause from this crowd that is still filing in here. Fairly good crowd here on hand at George Rush Stadium on just a picture-perfect day for football. Temperatures up in the upper 60s here in San Francisco as we look across the Bayview Hills all the way out to the San Francisco Bay. So 3rd and 7 as they re-spot the ball at the 31-yard line. And the Vikings right now with a big 3rd down play. They have 2 receivers up top, 2 down low. Sturgis Kofer behind Graham in the pistol. Back to pass, under pressure, and he's going to be dropped at the 40-yard line. And it was Aslan Zetterberg along with Tadarius Patterson who converged on that sack. Huge third down blitz. And I think Tyler Graham, or Dylan Graham rather, really did a good job of just hanging on to the ball. He took a huge hit at the end of that sack, and nice time to dial up a blitz if you're the Rams, and that'll force a punt by the Vikings. So good job by this Rams defense to get the offense of the Vikings off the field.
Yeah, and if you notice, you see that the quarterback is clearly looking in Sahugin's way again.
Yeah.
You know, they're really trying to get him the ball. It seems like they're probably he's one of their biggest playmakers on the team, but it just seems like he's just getting locked. He's just getting completely clamped by the Rams defense.
Yeah, Sahugin, the sophomore, has 234 yards through 6 games this season. He averages 39 yards a game. He's actually the second leading receiver behind Dominic Dominguez, who we really haven't seen all game. And right now, it's a chance for the Rams to get the ball back and maybe even put more points on the board. There's still 3:02 to go before halftime here. And Trent Holloway will be the man to return. But, of course, there's no sure thing with these punt attempts so far. We've seen the Vikings go for 2 fake punts and be successful on both. So right now, if you're Larry Grant, you're imploring your special teams to please not give up another fake punt. And you see right now the formation, Rams playing a little bit more of a safe punt protection here. And by the way, give this credit to the Vikings special teams coordinator. I know they're going to go for it here. No, I beg your pardon. It was going to be a punt. Instead, the Vikings are going to go for it on 4th and 15. Big gamble here. Under pressure is Graham, and he goes down to the 50-yard line. Avery Burt, the freshman from Berkeley High, he went unblocked and shut down that 4th down attempt. So a big gamble by the Vikings does not pay off. The Rams will take over right at midfield.
And number 59 on the Vikings side looks extremely upset with his quarterback. It doesn't look like they were on the same page. As you can see, his blocking assignment wasn't clearly given to him.
Yeah, someone blew a block there, it looked like. Because, yeah, Avery Burt went in, as we're watching the replay, he went in completely untouched. And that's number 59. That's Tyler Clemens, the sophomore lineman from Martinez, California. He was the guy shaken up earlier, so appears to be okay. So Rams back to work on offense, and this is Jacob Cruz in at quarterback. Aleem gets the handoff across the 50-yard line, picks up maybe 1. So Cruz right now, surprisingly in at quarterback. We wonder if Bullock is shaken up. He appears to be on the sideline with his helmet, so maybe Rams just trying to switch things up on offense a little bit here. Cruz has started a couple games. Of course, Ethan Bullock went out in the first game of the season at American River, or at Sierra College, I beg your pardon. Jacob Cruz started and won a couple games. He's the backup quarterback. He wears number 10. Gain of 2 following this first down run from Aleem. 2nd and 8 from the 48-yard line. Play action. Cruz. Was the ball going forward? I believe it was. He was under enormous pressure that time, and very fortunate that wasn't a fumble. It'll be incomplete, but Cruz almost had the ball knocked out of his hands that time. Dangerous pass that time.
Yeah, it's been really rough for these quarterbacks this game, and now even for Cruz as well. And this is a big chance for the CCSF Rams. If they can score on this drive, then that would really put them in a very good position to put this game away. They really need to score here.
Cruz.
It's very important for them to score.
Cruz has appeared in 3 games. He has a 50% completion percentage, 400 yards in the season. He's back to pass on 3rd and 8. Looking left, and it's caught. First down. Nice route by Kendon Robinson. It was a little, I think that's just called a hitch route, where you run about 10 yards and just kind of curl back. And it was about a 12-yard completion. That's enough for a first down. That'll move the chains. Clock is still ticking at 2:05. There is no 2-minute warning in JUCO football. So Rams on the move, trying to add more points into Vikings territory now. Cruz stays in the ball game. Cruz, empty backfield, back to pass, under pressure, rolls right, escapes the first man, and then he's going to be brought down hard at the 45-yard line. So good pass rush. And the Vikings have been dialing up some good blitzes. That was what Jimmy Collins talked about. He knows his team plays aggressive defense, and that's probably part of the reason why they've been so successful in terms of, on paper, limiting teams to under 200 yards passing per game. Rams go to a no huddle, under 90 seconds, 2nd and 10. Cruz with 5 receivers, back to pass. He's looking across the middle. He's going to be hit again. And that time, it was Ravin Nasalai, the sophomore from Brentwood, California, who played his high school ball at Liberty. Brings up 3rd down and 15 following the sack. Ball back to the 45-yard line. Now just a minute to go. Rams may just try and chuck it up here on 3rd and 17. Cruz calling an audible at the line. Empty backfield, 3 receivers up top, 2 down low. Cruz audibles again. Vikings bring 4 rushers. Cruz across the middle. Robinson caught. Back to the original line of scrimmage and nothing more after that. So brings up 4th and 9, and we may see the Rams, with the clock ticking, just let this one run out. Or we may just see one more attempt. It will be, by the way, City College getting the ball to start the second half. But up 7-0, Rams may be trying to be a little bit aggressive here. Christian Willis lined up in the slot. 2 receivers up top. 3 down low. Cruz back to pass, under pressure. Escapes the pocket, rolls right, looks downfield, gets a pass off, and then it's just thrown out of bounds. And that'll be the final play of this first half. So it was an explosive start for this game for City College, but then it was all defense after that. And it's anybody's ball game. The Rams and Vikings head into the locker room with the Rams up just 7-0 in that first half. And you got to think more defense perhaps in the second half, and it might just be whoever plays mistake-free football might come away with a win this game.
Yeah, and I think they put it in Cruz because Bullock is trying to make things happen that he doesn't need to. You know, he's kind of you can tell that the guy's got arm talent, but there's just some things you can't force, and they feel like Cruz is probably not going to force balls as much. Or it might be, like you said earlier, maybe Bullock's a little shaken up from getting hit so much in the backfield, so definitely need a small break.
Well, we'll see who takes over at quarterback in that first half, but for now, it's 7-0 Rams. We'll step aside, and then we'll take a few minutes break, then come back with some first half analysis and stats and get you ready for the start of the second half. Once again, you're watching exclusive coverage of City College of San Francisco Rams football, streaming on Facebook Live, presented by the BEMA department here at CCSFathletics.com and Rams TV. And we'll see where the ball is spotted. It was a gain of about 3. Or call it 4, 2nd and 6 from the 34-yard line. And it's Sturgis Kofor back in the ball game. And we've seen a lot of this formation. Pistol. Back to pass again is Graham. He's got time. Looks left. Pass caught. And a beautiful tackle that time to prevent the first down. Nice play. And that was Isaiah Mays. He plays both receiver and DB on this team. And a very short pass sets up 3rd and about 2 now from the 38-yard line. And that's really, when they do pass the ball, that's about the routes we see. We see those just very short 5-6-yard routes. And as a quarterback, Graham averages just 5 yards per attempt. 3rd and 2, ball on the 38-yard line.
And we can see that Kofor is in the game. He might run it.
They fake to Kofor, and then a beautiful tackle. Nothing doing that time. And it looked like Brian Thompson Jr. brings up a 4th down. It was a very short route, and if there was no one in front of him, we may have seen the receiver there for Diablo Valley. So as I'm trying to scroll down my roster, that was Justin Zimmer. That was his 2nd catch of the day. But that brings up 4th and 3. So very nice stop again by the Rams defense, and the Rams defense continues to just play outstanding football.
Yeah, it appears that they tried to put Kofor in to scare the Rams coordinator into going all out and stopping him, and tried to run a play-action screen play. But the Rams were not fooled.
Was that a penalty on the field? I heard the ref chime in, and it looks like it might have been a delay of game. That's the 3rd delay of game penalty this game so far by Diablo Valley. It moves the ball back 5 yards. Trenton Holloway is back to receive the football. standing at about his own 34-yard line. High punt. Holloway calls for a fair catch at the 40, and that's where the Rams will take over, back on offense at their own 41-yard line.
Yeah, and something that I keep coming back to that I'm mentioning earlier is like not only turnovers but penalties. Penalties have been a major killer, not only for the Rams but also the Vikings as well. I feel like if the Rams and the Vikings just limited the amount of penalties they had, especially the Rams offense, they would definitely be winning this game right now. You see that holding call called back a touchdown.
By the way, I did want to mention that CSM and Laney game has been postponed due to PG&E blackouts expected today. So they may move that game to, oh no, I beg your pardon, it has been played. So in that game, it's halftime in San Mateo down the road from here. The Bulldogs leading the Eagles 19-0. And this may be on the defense. There's a penalty. There was movement up front, and now it's going to be false start on the Rams. So the Rams march backwards. It'll be 1st and 15 now. Ball moves back to the 36-yard line. And elsewhere in the CCCAA, Monterey Peninsula College leading De Anza 20-7. Contra Costa and Los Medanos tied at 7. Cruz back to pass. That ball is intercepted. It was Christian Willis on a very hot pass from Jacob Cruz. He had the ball in his hands. It went off his hands and then intercepted by the linebacker. It looks like number 45 got his hands on it. That's DeJohn Stewart. So another tough break. That's a second interception thrown by the Rams, and not necessarily Cruz's fault on that play. And that was 24, I beg your pardon. That was Ronnie Preston, the sophomore from Deer Valley High School in Antioch. So the Vikings take over inside Rams territory at the 41-yard line. Third turnover by the Rams today. Graham looks down the field. He's got a receiver open and then overthrows his receiver. Holloway almost came up with the interception of his own. And a poor pass that time by Graham, who was looking for Justin Zimmer once again. It was a good route, but just an errant pass.
Yeah, and also a great job by 8 to not only press the guy off his route, but then also to make him circle instead of cut. You know,
Yeah.
he could instead of, that's a corner route, so you have to cut to the corner to the sideline, but instead he had to round his route out, and that messed up the throw from the quarterback.
2nd and 10 following the incompletion. Williams in the backfield now. Back to passes. Graham under pressure. It's caught and then hit immediately is Williams. And a good play that time by Tim Finau from Pittsburgh, California. Finau has really been all over the field today. He anchors that linebacking core along with Frederick Tompkins.
But yeah, the conditioning on this Rams defense, I am very impressed.
Yeah.
You know, they have had to come back on the field after sometimes 2 to 3 plays, and they are just playing outstanding football right now.
Yeah, and that's been really the case all year long. I mean, this Rams defense is very stingy. Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 7 following the 3-yard completion. Williams gets the handoff over the left side, and he's got a first down and then some. He's across the 20, flagged down on the field, and this may be a hold. I think it is coming back. And that's too bad. That was a very nice run, and one of the offensive linemen is going to get called for a hold, so that brings the ball back, and so a break for the Rams defense. And that may have been on big number 78 for the Vikings. That's Christopher Strouder at 6'7", 415 pounds from Richmond, California. And I beg your pardon, that was not on Strouder. That was on DJ Johnson.
Yeah, like I said, keep talking about this. These penalties are killing this team. Turnovers and penalties are not a good winning formula, especially for offenses. You know, you're not going to get anywhere turning the ball over and committing penalties. You got to play disciplined football. You got to stick with your assignments. This is not good for either offense. Both offenses have not have played well today.
3rd and 18. Williams in the backfield. Graham back to pass under pressure and was once again looking for Zimmer, and that pass ball is incomplete, but he had a ram breathing down his neck, and that was Avery Burt, who already has 1 sack today, and he almost got another there. So good job by Burt. Once again, good job by this Rams defense. And it'll force what we think will be a punt, but you never know.
Yeah, this Vikings team has been trying to surprise the Rams the whole game, but who knows, they might run out of surprises.
It is interesting that we saw the Rams get a lot of pressure, by the way, Brandon, on the punts. I think that may have been what inspired those fake punts, to get that pressure off. Meanwhile, another near block, and Holloway calls for a fair catch at the 20-yard line. So a good punt that time, but Rams once again go back with the pressure. And the Rams offense with Jacob Cruz now in the ballgame gets back to work. And we'll see if Cruz can try and make up for that last interception that I don't really think was entirely his fault. He put the ball right on Christian Willis, who already has a touchdown today, and Willis just saw the ball pop off his hands in the air, and then right place, right time for that Vikings defender. They come up with their second interception, but it's Rams ball at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and the Rams have to be really careful about turning the ball over here. A touchdown or even a field goal would definitely help make this. They need to make this a 2-possession game. As long as it's a 1-possession game, the game's going to be hard to win. But if you make it 2, you make those guys have to pass, which they're not very good at.
And Bullock back in the game, by the way. I hate to cut you off, but Ethan Bullock is right back in the ballgame at quarterback following the Cruz interception. So Jimmy Collins just reshuffling his deck. That pass was caught by Christian Willis, but really going nowhere. Maybe a gain of 1. So right now, Jimmy Collins is just saying he needs one of his quarterbacks to step up. And we've seen each quarterback now throw an interception. And we also have seen an interception or a touchdown pass from either quarterback. However, one was called back due to a penalty. 2nd and 9 following the 1-yard completion by Bullock. And now a timeout on the field. And that gives me a chance to talk about this Rams defense. And it's interesting because we look at their game log throughout the season. The most points the Rams have given up in any one game was the opening week win over Sierra College, 37-29. And that was a game in which their starting quarterback, Ethan Bullock, went out with a hand injury. We saw Jacob Cruz finish that game. The Rams won by 8. But after that, we saw Sacramento City come into here and get shut out 47-0. We saw the Rams lose a very tight game on the road at Modesto 23-20. Then, of course, rattled off 2 straight wins, 35-24, a game that was not as close as it seemed against Butte. Then they blew out Siskiyous in back-to-back home games, 73-7 back on October 5th. And then, of course, last Friday night, that really heartbreaking loss to Laney, 13-10. But, I mean, you look at what the defense has done. They have at least two sacks in all but one game. The most sacks they've committed this year is 6 sacks against Sacramento City. Last week they had 3 sacks against Laney. I mean, this defense has really been solid all year, and I really think that's what they've been winning or losing with is this defense. And if you're the defense, I mean, with some of these games, it's like, what else can you do right? You know, at some point you want your offense to try and return the enthusiasm. And it's been a struggle offensively for both teams today, but really especially for the Rams. They've really had a hard time getting anything going with the exception of that first play. So Rams back to work following the timeout, 2nd and 9. And another short completion there. And it's first catch by Trayvon Drummer.
Yeah, it seems that Jimmy's taking my suggestion of trying to shift the plays a bit because now he's starting to call screen plays, quick throws.
Right.
He's realizing his quarterbacks are taking too much punishment. He's probably going to try to take the pressure off. And that was a pretty good gain. So if they keep that going, keep getting these good gains off these screen passes, might open up something over top.
3rd and 2 after the gain of 7. Ball up to the 28-yard line. Anthony Hurd is in at running back now. We really didn't see a lot of him in the first half of that. Maybe Collins trying to keep him fresh, knowing they'll need him down the stretch. Hurd gets the run here, and he's very close to that first down marker. We might have to await a spot. They might even need to measure it. And he actually may be short by a yard, depending on where they spot. I thought he might have gotten it. But that'll bring up a punt. So good hold again by the Vikings defense, limiting Hurd and forcing the Rams offense off the field.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take for this Rams offense to get something going. They need something. They need anything, a spark, a play.
Yeah, and the main issue you got to think if you're this Rams coaching staff is you worry about your defense tiring out. You know, all it takes is one big play for the Vikings to get right in this and possibly tie the game up. Very high punt here. Fair caught at the 28-yard line. Beautiful punt that time by Dominic Seuss. So it'll be a long field for the Vikings. It almost feels like, Brandon, in this game, it'll be who makes the fewest mistakes from here on out. You know, all it takes is one big penalty, maybe a roughing the passer, a pass interference, and that could be just as much of a spark as any kind of offensive play or a play from scrimmage. And, you know, credit both defenses. I mean, really defenses, both defenses, aside from playing well statistically, have also made very few mistakes. I have yet to see one pass interference. There's been 0 holds in either defense, 0 roughing the passer. It's just been a hard-hitting, old-school football kind of game. This almost feels like, in the NFL, like a Ravens-Steelers game. And it's still 7-0 Rams, 7:14 to go in the third quarter. Vikings back to work. A pitch play to Sturgis Kofer trying to run to the left side and nothing doing. And again, the linebackers come up and make a huge stop. That was Frederick Tompkins from Fresno, California, the freshman at 6'1", 225. That's D1 size, and he's just in his first year of college ball. He made a very athletic play that time, snuffing out Kofer. So we've seen the Vikings try to get Kofer on pitch plays, running to the outside. We've seen him try to go in the inside. I actually think Kofer's had better success running inside, to be honest. With how fast these linebackers are, I don't think you're going to get much on pitch plays. They're just too quick.
Yeah, these linebackers have been playing some really good football. They've been playing sideline to sideline and making tackles.
2nd and 12, and almost intercepted. Beautiful play that time. And was it intercepted? No, they're going to say incomplete. Rams wanted a turnover that time, but that was a beautiful play to not only break the pass up by Ronald Harge III, but also to not commit a penalty.
Yes, that was an excellent job coming up and just playing pass.
And let's watch this replay, because the Rams are trying to say that this may have been a turnover and that the ball did not hit the ground. And we see that Harges came in, and it actually landed in the hands of a Ram, and I think the refs may have just missed a call there.
That's an interception.
So the refs are conferring here, and they say incomplete pass. Wow, and Jimmy Collins is beside himself on the sidelines. Of course, this is JUCO football, so the refs can't go under a hood and watch a replay. But looking at the replay, I don't think that ball hit the ground. It happened so fast that maybe the refs just missed it. But a huge break for the Vikings. That could have been Rams ball inside the Vikings 35, and Jimmy Collins is still complaining to officials. Wow, huge break, and let's see if the Vikings can take advantage of it. It's still 3rd and 12 after a call to incomplete. And there's no challenge play here, so the Vikings will take the break. Rams rush just 3 on the long play, and it doesn't matter. Ball's on the ground following the sack. Vikings recover, but what a beautiful play. 4th sack of the game, and that time that's Tadarius Patterson from Birmingham, Alabama. And, well, they don't get the turnover, but Tadarius Patterson says, I'll have no more offense today. And he shuts things down right away. That forces another Vikings punt.
And I'm a defensively biased guy. This is what defense is all about. This is what you do. You step up when your offense is not making plays. This is complementary football, where if one part of your unit's not stepping up, then you decide to step up. The Rams right now are declaring that this is their field, and they're not going to allow any passes or any runs.
Wobbly punt. Fair caught at the 50-yard line, or 49-yard line of the Vikings. So the Rams, who had the interception, and then basically went 3 and out on the next possession, now have a chance to try and add more points to this game. And you got to think that, like you said earlier, Brandon, maybe dialing up some quick slant plays, some screen plays, try and get the ball out of the hands of the quarterback faster, because Ethan Bullock has been seeing a whole lot of pressure. He's back in the game. He was pulled for maybe 3 offensive possessions, but he's back in the game after starting the game, throwing the touchdown pass. He has Anthony Hurd behind him and 3 receivers down low. Hurd the carry. Hurd across the 50. Open hole for Hurd. Across the 40 down to the 35-yard line. 16-yard run from first down, and that'll move the chains.
There we go. That's what you need. That is the start you need. Now the Rams need to build off that. They can't go cold here. They have to stay hot. They have to keep building off of that momentum. I would suggest maybe run a little bit of hurry up once you see something you like. I guess Jimmy decided that it's better to go back in the huddle, but the Rams need to get something going here.
Well, Hurd is fresh, and he was not used at all in that first half, and that may be by design by Jimmy Collins. And he stays on the field. Bullock turns, gives to Hurd, trying to stretch out the run. Hurd finds a hole across the 30, down at about the 29-yard line, or the 30, depending on where they spot him. I guess they'll say the 31-yard line. Gain of 5, and Jimmy Collins will take 5-yard runs all day, and because it keeps the ball in the hands of the Rams offense, and more importantly, it gives the Rams defense a chance to just get a little bit of a breather. They've really worked hard all day today, and they've been on the field a lot today. So clock keeps moving, 5:30 left in the third quarter. Rams knocking on the door at the 31-yard line after the 4-yard run by Hurd. Hurd again, right up the gut. Anthony Hurd with room to run. First down to the 29-yard line, or the 20-yard line, maybe the 19, depending on where they spot him. 11-yard run from Anthony Hurd. So Hurd with fresh legs coming in and making an impact.
Yeah, and I think I see the strategy of what Jimmy's trying to do. You know, coming back in the huddle, he's going to waste a lot of time on that clock.
He wants that clock to run. He wants to keep this Vikings defense on the field as long as possible.
Yeah, he's trying to put these guys in a coffin.
Christian Willis is lined up in the slot.
Might see some play action.
Back to pass Bullock. Looking to the end zone. Willis, and it's overthrown and nowhere really near any kind of Rams. And by the way, Willis was in double coverage. He was originally one-on-one with Zane Cribb, who has an interception this game, and the safety came over to help as well. So incomplete pass by Bullock, and he'll take that over an interception, of course. That brings up 2nd and 10. Ball remains at the 20-yard line.
Yes, and, you know, the Rams really need to get this play action going. I feel like if they just run one play action play and hit them over the top, they definitely can get in the end zone. Maybe get one of their slot guys.
Hurd, the stretch run. Hurd cannot escape the tackle that time. Good job by Darrell Walker coming up and making the stop. Walker played his high school ball at Bishop O'Dowd, one of the premier high schools here in the Bay Area. Actually, right down the hill from where I live, up in the Oakland Hills. Beautiful football facility. And he's a sophomore. Good speed that time and a good tackle. And I think Hurd might have lost a yard or just got back to the line of scrimmage. So 3rd and 11. And now decision time. And I got to think, if you're Jimmy Collins, you might want to dial up some kind of pass play. They leave now Julian in the backfield with 3 receivers bunched up top, and Kendon Robinson, the lone receiver, down low. Bullock rolls right. Bullock with protection, and he had a man open and just could not hit him. That could have been a touchdown. And wide open was Trevion Drummer from Sacramento. Played his high school ball at Foothill High. And, tough break for the Rams. That could have been 6, or at the very least a first down deep inside the red zone. And now it'll bring up Dominic Seuss for another field goal attempt, although this one about 10 yards shorter than last time. He missed a 48-yarder, and this one will be about 38 yards.
And that's a throw you just have to make, Aaron.
Yeah.
You know, you can't miss that throw. That's such a huge momentum booster if you make that throw.
Kick is up, and this time it's good. So Dominic Seuss, and that's a big field goal. I mean, that puts the Rams up by 2 scores, and with how well their defense is playing, you got to think that 10 points feels a lot safer than just being up by 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and if I'm the Rams right now, especially if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm telling my guys, you know, we got to go out there and we have to stop these guys. If we can do this, we're going to win this game. Because the Vikings right now, this is a do-or-die drive. If they don't score here, the chances of them winning this game will go down very significantly.
Yeah, at some point you got to think, the Vikings offense is thinking, we got to get some points on the board. Even a field goal would be okay because it keeps them within 1 score. But, I mean, give a lot of credit to this Rams defense. With how efficiently the Vikings have played on defense, the Rams have answered the call just as well, if not better, because they've kept the Vikings off the scoreboard, and that's what's most important in this game. And with 4:19 to go in the third quarter, Rams now up 10-0, and looking a whole lot better compared to being up just 7-0 moments ago.
Yeah, and the one thing that the Vikings especially cannot afford is any type of special teams mistakes.
Absolutely. High booming kick, taken inside the 5. And then slipping is the return man. So Teontre Pierce lost his footing, and so now the Vikings will be looking at a very long field to start their next offensive drive.
And that's exactly what I was just talking about. You can't. He slipped, fell, and now they're down all the way before the 20-yard line in their own territory.
You got to wonder why maybe he didn't just call for a fair catch. Because if you remember now in college football, you can call for a fair catch inside or outside of the end zone and start the ball at the 25-yard line. He tried to take the ball up, did Pierce, and he slipped at the 11-yard line. So Vikings staring at an 89-yard long field right now. 1st and 10 from the 11. Graham goes back to work, down 10. Sturgis Kofer, and he had 2 Rams draped all over him, and good job by Timote Finau. He snuffed that play from the beginning, and Finau and then Frederick Tompkins came in to help clean up that play. So going nowhere with Sturgis Kofer, he actually might have even lost a yard or 2.
And that is a great example of not only recognizing what the play is, but then being explosive enough to get there.
Yeah.
You know, Finau really has been doing an amazing job in this game. You know, he's been getting to where he needs to go. He's been making the tackles. He's been making his reads. And, yeah, he's been really especially effective in the run game.
Yeah, really, this whole Rams defense has been very good against the run. They gave up 68 yards to Sturgis Kofer in the first half. And now it's Graham escaping, completing a pass, and then some. And off to the races goes Sturgis Kofer, finally tackled from behind, but a huge pass and catch. That goes for about 80 yards.
And that's what we were just
70 yards, I beg your pardon, Brandon.
And that's exactly what we were just talking about. It appears that Graham is down in the end zone. He's very slow to get up. I think he got nailed.
Yeah, and he had a Ram all over him. That was Tadarius Patterson coming in on the blitz. He somehow got that pass off, and then Sturgis Kofer was off to the races. But Graham, he's got some kind of injury. So right now, the Vikings with their biggest play by far all day offensively, and it's just poor timing because Sturgis Kofer almost had a touchdown. It was a game-saving tackle by, it may have been Trenton Holloway. Who else saving the day once again. And right now, it's Dylan Graham on the ground. For the Vikings, they do have another freshman backup quarterback. His name is Nick Visser. He's played in 5 games. He's completed 8 of 19 on the season in terms of passes for 83 yards, and that's a 42% completion percentage. So right now, if you're number 15, you're probably warming up real quickly right now because Graham appears to be shaken up.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and one thing that I said earlier that I think is true now especially is at what point were the Rams going to give up that big play, and they just did. Now this is a chance for the Rams to show who they really are. You know, even if they get away with letting away 3, you know, it's better than giving up a touchdown.
Yeah.
A touchdown right now is something that they can't give up if they hope to put this game away completely. So the Rams are going to have to stand tall here like they did earlier.
Yeah, and credit Sturgis Kofer, by the way, with recognizing that his quarterback was under pressure. He kind of came back to the ball, you saw. And you mentioned it before in this passing game. You've noticed that these running backs have been getting open more times than not in the passing game. It's just been on Graham to connect. That time he did connect and let his speedy star running back do the rest of the work. That's by far the longest pass play. It's about 70 yards with the catch and run, and 65 or so of those yards coming after the catch. So Sturgis Kofer, who, as I check my stat sheet, has 11 receptions this season for 95 yards coming into today. So not a bad receiver. They obviously mostly use him in the running game, but Graham, by the way, is still on the field. So right now, Vikings huddling up, and Graham does get up under his own power. And the question is, for the Vikings, is will he stay in the game?
Yeah, that's a very vital blow, especially with such a big play that happened.
I don't think he's going to do it.
You got to think, you got to hope. You got to hope the guy's okay, but at the same time, this is a huge opportunity for the Rams, you know, with an opposing team starting quarterback out. That's a really great opportunity, and how well this defense has been doing against the pass until just now. I think pretty sure this is like a chance you're thinking you got to intercept this guy.
So, and if you're Coach Mike Darr, who's in his 7th year as the head football coach at Diablo Valley College, you got to be thinking, geez, after our biggest play all day, now I lose my starting quarterback. I mean, it's when it rains, it pours, I suppose. So right now, it's Nick Visser in the ball game for the Vikings, who are knocking on the door down to the 22-yard line of the Rams. 1st and 10. Visser in the pistol, back to pass, finds Williams in the backfield, and he basically goes nowhere. Bottled up nicely by the DB, that's Kenyon McTeer from Fremont High School. And I may have been a gain of 1, if anything, on that pass play. And yeah, gain of 1, 2nd and 9 from the 21. Williams stays in the game. 3 receivers bunched up top with 1 down low. Visser audibles at the line from the pistol. Turns, gives to Williams. Across the left side, Williams finds a hole. He's near a first down yardage. Tackled just before the 10-yard line, and that may be enough to move the chains. I think it is. He got just enough. He needed 9 yards. He got about 10. That moved the chains. So now the Vikings, for just the 3rd time today, are in the red zone and threatening to score. They have been shut out so far, but trying to get into the end zone. And another test coming up for this Rams defense. Can they keep the Vikings out of the end zone?
Yeah, right here, this is where defenses make or break the games. This is what we were discussing earlier about how these previous games have come down to how well can the defense play and how well can they sustain themselves. Against Laney, they had a little bit of a tough time, but even though Laney only scored once a touchdown, scored 2 field goals. So we got to see here if they can stop them.
Visser keeps it himself and is met immediately. Nice tackle by Timote Finau. He's been all over the field today. And they were trying to run a bit of trickery. They lined him up in the shotgun, and they had one running back on either side of him, so trying to keep the Rams defense guessing. And just a great job by these linebackers once again to read that play and diagnose it. And no gain on that play. In fact, I think he may have even lost a yard, did Visser. So Sturgis Kofor back in the game. Vikings line up in the pistol. 2 receivers on either side of the formation. From the 11. Clock down to 1:15 and ticking. Visser back to pass. Looks left. Has a receiver and then going nowhere after the catch. And that was Giovanni Hong, his first catch of the day. He traveled a long way to play his college football. He went to high school in Boston at Tech Boston Academy, and the 5'10 freshman gains about, I want to say 2 or 3 there. Very, very short gain.
Yeah, that was an excellent catch, and that's such kind of situation. You got to wonder who wants the ball more, and it looks like Mr. Hong wanted the ball more than the other guy.
Short gain though, so gain of 4, 3rd and 6 now from the 8. Visser rolls right and play is called dead, and that may be on the false start on the offense. So a break for the Rams defense. That'll move the ball back, and it'll be now 3rd and about 12. So another tough break for the Vikings offense. Visser, by the way, went to Annalee High School up the road in Sonoma County. He's a freshman at 6'4", 212 pounds. So a couple freshman quarterbacks hitting the field here today for the Vikings.
Yeah, and another thing, I keep mentioning this over and over again, that I'm pretty sure the coaches after this game, these players are going to run because these penalties have been killing them.
Yeah, we've seen both sides come up with some untimely penalties to kill scoring drives. Visser back to pass, 3rd and 12, under pressure, hit him hard, and who else? Avery Burt. His 3rd sack of the afternoon.
This man, Burt, is an unstoppable machine this game. They don't have an answer for this man. He has come up big, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Now it's decision time for the Vikings. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to kick the field goal, but, man, they are just – Burt and those 2 linebackers, yeah, you see on this play here, you just see – he just gets a great release off the line, blows him up, and bam.
It was a delayed blitz, by the way. I don't think he was originally blitzing, and he saw that his man, there was no one for him to cover, and he said, why not? I'm just going to go after the quarterback. And he hit Visser very hard on the 3rd and 12, and that brings us also to the end of the 3rd quarter. So, Vikings knocking on the door. They will go for a field goal here when trying to make it a 1-score game, get on the board for the first time today. And right now, Rams defense trying to prevent that from happening. Rams and Vikings will switch sides of the field. So Vikings now moving south to north here on the field. But good job on 3rd and 12 by the Rams defense, coming up pretty big and keeping the Vikings out of the end zone for now.
Yes, like I said earlier, excellent job. I know I keep talking about the defense over and over again, but they have just been showing up this entire game, They have just been there. They've been containing the run. They've been containing the pass. They are just killing these guys right now. And I don't think the Vikings really have an answer. You could start to see that these guys are going to clearly have been getting frustrated. And we might see a blocked field goal here.
Kalani Latori Holt, German Acosta, the kicker, attempting from about 34 yards. Hold is down, kick is up, and it is blocked. Right on cue. And Larry Grant can breathe a sigh of relief. That keeps the Vikings off the field. And it was a good hold. And someone just flew in and blocked that kick. That's a second straight field goal block in as many games for the Rams. So you talked about it with Larry Grant, former Rams linebacker, former 49ers linebacker, about special teams play. And
guess who blocked that kick?
Frederick Tompkins.
Guy's been all over the field, and now he comes up big with a field goal block. I mean,
these linebackers have just been playing excellent football today. Tompkins, Finau, Avery Burt, the D lineman. It's been an outstanding defensive performance so far. And a fumble! Ball on the ground. Vikings have it. They could score here, and they do. So the Rams come up huge, and the Vikings answer right back with a defensive stop of their own. Their first touchdown of the ball game, Dwayne Alatini, and that was just a muffed handoff.
I'm speechless right now. I have nothing to say. That was bad. And you can see the coaches on the sideline right now. Their heads are all down, and the players are just there. Some of them are confused as to what just happened. I don't even know what just happened, Aaron. And
I think that was Jarmar Julian, the running back. He just could not handle that handoff from Ethan Bullock. So after just an outstanding defensive stop, it's the Rams offense committing a mistake, and just like that, it's 10-6 with the extra point upcoming here. So it's the fourth turnover of the day by the Rams. They now have 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. Extra point is good. It's the Vikings defense coming up with a huge play of their own. So we talked about these defenses stepping up, and both defenses now have come up with huge plays. 10-7, 14-45 to go in the game.
Hey, you need your offense to score when your defense can do it.
Yeah, wow. So, that's just a... That's just a poor handoff. I mean, and actually, the handoff itself was fine. That was just a poor handle by the running back, and not much you can say about that. It was an easy scoop and score for the Vikings. So the Vikings offense saying, "Thank you very much. We will take that," after being shut out. And
if there's one thing I know about Jimmy right now, he's livid. The guy is probably furious right now.
So right now, if you're the Rams coaching staff, you're just trying to get everyone settled down. The Rams will get the ball right back here, and still up by 3. If you're the offense for the Rams, you're saying we need to go on a long, time-consuming drive here. Try and eat up some clock. Try and keep the Vikings defense on the field as much as possible, and try and just forget that mistake.
Yeah, you don't want this to turn into a game like Laney, where you have the Vikings getting the ball back and then scoring. You don't want it to get too close. You want to try to get at least 13 or 17. One of those two things right now.
Yeah,
that is what you need.
A score would be huge for the Rams, even if it's just by way of a field goal. But hey, this Vikings defense has been just as impressive as the Rams today. It's been a low-scoring affair. Wobbly kick, bounces at the 10, and why are you touching that? Now he'll have to return it. Will the return man? Was that Delonte Aline? And you probably should have just let that go. I beg your pardon. That was Oliver Saunders, Brandon, who probably should have just let that ball go. He touched it, realized he touched it, had to go retrieve it, and then had to run it out, and he got the ball all the way to the 16-yard line. I'm actually impressed he was able to bring the ball out that far. I thought for a minute the Rams would be pinned deep in their own zone. But a fortunate break there, and right now Larry Grant probably gritting his teeth a little bit. He saw his special teams field goal block unit come up with a huge block, and then almost a mistake there. Ethan Bullock back to work on offense. And a flag, and I think they're going to get the Rams for a late substitution here. We saw Ezra Grace running on the field as the ball was snapped, and I think that they're going to get Rams with an illegal substitution, Brandon. So another tough break for the Rams.
Yeah, and it appears that Christian Willis, he was did not come on the field like he was supposed to, because I didn't see him out there, and I was confused, like, where is he?
Well, 88 number Ezra Grace also was running onto the field to substitute as the ball was being snapped, and you can't have that. He was first of all on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage, and he wasn't set. So that'll march the ball backwards. And now we see the ball being we have to see where it'll be placed, but it'll be a long field for the Rams here.
Yeah, and it appears that Christian Willis is upset with Jimmy for not allowing him to be on the field, but he can't blame him. You know, Christian wasn't paying attention, and he didn't go on the field like he was supposed to, so they had to put in Ezra as a last-second substitution.
Yeah. It looks like they were. Yeah, they just had one min too few on the field.
Yeah, the players right now, they can't afford to get frustrated. They're going to have to keep their head in the game.
Yeah. Right now it's a game of mental toughness, and the ball is moved back to the 11-yard line. So the Rams staring at an 89-yard field, and you got to think that the Rams just want to eat up as much clock as possible. And 1st and 15 for Ethan Bullock. Hurd takes the handoff. Hurd, room to run. Nice run on first down by Anthony Hurd. He's been the most impressive running back today. He did not get the start, and we both have hypothesized that Jimmy Collins probably was keeping him fresh for the second half, and it's paid dividends. He's had a really good second half.
Yeah, definitely. Keeping him fresh is good. Especially now is going to be really, really important. He needs to, the Jimmy and his offense really need to get either the run or pass game going, and whether that's through Hearn or through a deep ball, one of those two needs to happen.
Hurd again, right up the gut on 2nd and 7, and goes nowhere. Nice stop that time by this Vikings defensive line.
Yeah, this Vikings defensive line, the Rams defensive line, they've all been impressive this entire game. And I really, really think that, you know, if you don't get something going here, the momentum shift that's going to happen to the Vikings, the offense is going to get energized, and you can only expect the Rams defense to keep doing so much.
3rd and 4, big third down here for this Rams offense. Empty backfield, 3 receivers up top, 2 down low. Bullock, straight drop. Bullock, and this is a flag? It may be a flag. No, Jimmy Collins is once again screaming for a flag on the sideline. They were looking to find Floyd Gordon, the slot receiver. He had a man all over him, and I cannot believe there's no defensive holding that time. Collins is just beside himself on the sideline. So again, a break for the Vikings with no flag thrown. The Rams right now break the huddle, and they're going to punt this ball away.
That is a horrible officiating call by the ref. You can clearly see that the corner was way too early on defending that throw. The receiver had absolutely no chance to go get the ball. That should have been a very clear pass interference call, but it was a tough call because it was within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
That's what I was thinking actually, was maybe the ref swallowed the whistle because it was such a short pass. Meanwhile, the Rams down the punt inside the 40, so the Vikings offense will get a chance down just 3 now. So they can take a lead here, or at the very least tie things up with a field goal. So don't go anywhere, folks. We got quite a 4th quarter remaining here. Rams up just 3.
All right, let's see what the defense can do here.
Yeah, big time chance here for this Rams defense. Can they once again come up big? Of course, the only score coming off of the fumble recovery by the Vikings defense. Visser still in the ball game following the injury to Graham. He hands off to his running back. That was Williams. Ossie Williams has been featured a lot this game when in for Tyrell Sturgis-Cofer. Short gain that time to about the 48-yard line, gain of about 4 or 5, they're going to say. So 2nd and 5 from the 48.
Yeah, Jimmy must be extremely frustrated with his offense right now, just going over that. You know, he's probably telling his guys, like, we need something, guys.
Yeah.
We're not going to win this game.
From the 48, Visser hands to Sturgis-Cofer, and going nowhere that time. He's stood up by a whole herd of Rams, and Franklin Banks was the lead tackler in there. The big guy, number 98, anchors that D-line, and that time just bottled up the speedy number 4.
Yeah, it appears that the Rams defense is trying to keep these running backs up so they can try to strip the ball away, because it doesn't look like they're going to have many opportunities to intercept the ball.
So Banks will check out. Avery Burt with his 3 sacks will check back in. 3rd and 6 now.
Look out for Burt. He might get another sack. You never know.
Williams in the backfield. 2 receivers on either side of the formation. Visser from the pistol. Back to pass. Looking right, it's caught. First down and more. Nice run and catch that time. It was a beautiful throw by Visser right on target to Roman Sahugin. So they finally get number 10 reception today. And the sophomore moved the chains.
Yeah, if you look in the replay, you can see it's a clear one-on-one situation. And
yeah, he just beat his man.
Yeah, it appears that the cornerback on that, I don't remember if it was a nickel or the slot, he just slipped. Yeah. Actually, it appears there was a little contact by Tenton Sugan. He appears like he kind of pushed off just a little bit. I'm surprised it didn't get called.
Well, the refs obviously opting to swallow the whistle more times than not today. From the 35, first down, Sturgis Kofor right up the gut. Hard fought 3 or 4 yards that time. So obviously the Vikings, they're going to try and run the clock now as much as they can and try and tire out this Rams defense, who has been on the field a whole lot today. And really give the Rams defense all sorts of credit. It should still be a shutout as far as they're concerned, and they are pitching a shutout. Of course, the 7 points coming by way of a fumble recovery by the Vikings. 2nd and 6, 4-yard run by Sturgis Kofor.
Yeah, and you can see how much one penalty can change a game.
Yeah.
One penalty cost them 7 points, and now they're in this position.
Visser from the pistol again. Takes the handoff. Swing pass. And a couple missed tackles. And very close to the first down marker is Chris Miles from Hercules, California. His first catch. He may be just a yard short. I think the refs will spot him just short at the 26-yard line. So right now, a big 3rd and 1 coming up.
Yeah, and Jimmy looks extremely frustrated with the referees. You know, there's some calls that I'm even seeing that I feel like the refs have been a little more biased towards the CCSF than they have against the Vikings.
Sturgis Kofor behind the quarterback. 3 receivers up top, 1 down low. 3rd and 1. The give to Sturgis Kofor, and he has just enough for a first down. It was actually a good defensive play that time. He was met immediately by Tadarius Patterson. Franklin Banks was also in there, but he got just enough for that first down yardage, and that does move the chain. Ball now spotted at the 24-yard line. So Sturgis Kofor needed 1. He got 2.
And now,
go ahead.
And now it appears that this team is now knocking on the door. You can't let them score here.
Yeah.
They have to figure something out. The Rams defense has been stopping them the whole game. They're going to have to pull something out now.
And a keeper. They went with a run option keeper, and Visser went nowhere. So yeah, the Vikings with a touchdown would take the lead, or they are within field goal range. So at the very least, they have a chance to tie the ball game here. Could we have overtime here at George Rush Stadium? And with such a trying season for City College, maybe that's fitting that they have to try and win the rest of these games with an overtime victory at home. Rams trying to avoid their 2nd straight loss after a heartbreaking loss last week to Laney College. Williams is in the game, and they have a fullback in now with Ravin Nasali playing the lead back. Ball on the ground. Williams did a good job to just fall on it, so good luck break for the Vikings, and that was actually the quarterback, Nick Visser, falling on it. So that's a break for the Rams defense, and that moves the ball back, and most importantly brings up 3rd and long. So right now the question is, do you go for the end zone, or do you try to run the ball and set up a shorter field goal? That's the question facing the Vikings along with Mike Darr.
Yep, definitely. You know, in this situation, you know, you got to make sure that you don't take too much of a risk, but at the same time, you can't be too conservative. But it looks like they got a lot of big bodies on that field, so might either try a run or a play-action pass. Oh.
And someone just called a timeout, so clearly wanting to talk things over. And that gives us a chance to maybe look at some state rankings here. Of course, I talked about CSM, who is currently shutting out Laney College down in San Mateo, but when you look at the Bay 6 conference, of course, CSM, the #1 team in California, undefeated so far. They're playing Laney College today. Of course, Chabot in the mix with that win last Friday night against DVC, this very same DVC game. They're now at 4-2, Rams at 4-2, and it's kind of a bunched up after that. DVC at 3-3, and then teams, and then you look at the state rankings, and the Rams, according to some polls, are at number 13 in the coaches poll and ranked number 10 in the CCSF poll. So obviously City College still in the running for both a state championship and a Base 6 conference championship. But you look at all the rest of these schools, it's all schools down in Southern California with the exception of CSM and Modesto College. So very interesting rankings here. And meanwhile, after the timeout, it's 3rd and 14 for the Vikings. From the 29-yard line, it's Williams in the backfield, 2 receivers up top, and the Vikings have the extra blocker. Visser, back to pass, looking left, caught, 1st down. What a huge throw and catch by the Vikings. And that's, I believe, the second catch of the day by John Gigari III. That moves the chains. That's a huge throw and catch, and that moves the chains, and more importantly, puts the Vikings back in the red zone.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. We're going to see on the replay here, it appeared that a Ram had a jump on the ball. He tried to go get it, but got stopped just a little bit.
Yeah, they just left too much of a cushion for Gigari that time. And a big throw and catch. So right now, this big test here for the Rams defense coming up. From the 13-yard line, Vikings knocking on the door. Visser, stretch run play to Sturgis Kofer. He sheds the first tackler. That was Frederick Tompkins who missed the tackle. Then Kofer falls forward and picks up a few hard-fought yards. Finau in on the tackle. And a gain of about 6 or 7 on 1st down. That brings up 2nd and 3, and the Vikings, by the way, can't pick up a 1st down without scoring here, with the 1st down marker right at about the 3-yard line. So 2nd and 4, ball on the 7-yard line.
Yeah, this is not looking too great for the Rams. They've had a key 3rd downs where they have failed to stop the Vikings. You know, if they fail to stop them one more time, they could be looking at getting right in the end zone. The Rams need to stand tall right now.
Yeah.
They need to stop the Vikings now. There's only 6 minutes and 56 seconds left on the clock. The Vikings score here and then the Rams don't score. This game's looking very bleak.
Biggest moment of the game, you got to think, for either team right here. And now a timeout called by the Vikings, so they want to talk things over. So, yeah, this is a big 2nd down. It's 2nd and 4. As I mentioned a moment ago, the Vikings can get a 1st down without scoring. But right now, if you're the Rams, you just got to keep them out of the end zone however you can. You will live with a field goal attempt, and even if they make the field goal, you'll live with a tie game. What you don't want to see is the Vikings score here, hit the extra point, and all of a sudden you're down 4, which means you have to march all the way down the field and score a touchdown, something they haven't done since the first play of the game.
Yeah, and also another thing that I think is very important is that the Vikings have been very effective in the run game as of late. So depending on how the Rams want to play this, they can either stack the box with linebackers and try to stop that, but they have to be careful that they don't fall for play action, or the Vikings could take advantage and try to pass short like they've been the whole game. That's been really effective. And then just to touch on back what you said about the conference and championships, you know, after this, the Rams have 2 road games. And it's very tough to win on the road, especially if you take a really close loss like this at home. So not only this game is very, very important, not just because it's for the conference, but because you got to win games like this close at home. These are the games that boost up your confidence a lot.
Rams have lost both of their games on the road. They will head to Chabot and Santa Rosa following this game before closing the season out against CSM. 2nd and 4 from the 7. You got to think number 4 might see the ball here. Visser keeps it, and he's near a 1st down marker. He was stopped short of the end zone, but that may move the chains once again, and I believe it will. So it was a run option, and that time Visser kept the ball. Ball spotted at the 1-yard line. Rams will substitute the heavy package in. Huge test here for this Rams defense. Can they keep the Vikings out of the end zone? 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Vikings with 2 lead blockers and Sturgis Kofer in the backfield. They give to Sturgis Kofer, and he does not hit, and he's hit immediately, stood up right at the line of scrimmage, got nothing that play. Huge stop that time by this Rams defense, and he already probably knew that number 4 was getting the call there. I mean, they pretty much telegraphed that, but good stop on the 1st down run brings up 2nd and goal.
Yeah, and now we got the heavy package in, and now you know for sure that this team is going to run.
Oh, absolutely.
The Vikings are the Vikings want to punch it in, and there's no question about it.
0 receivers on the field. Another stretch play to Kofor. He sheds the first tackler, and he stood up, and a flag in the backfield, or I'm sorry, in the secondary. Could this be a hold on the Rams on defense, or is it a hold on the Vikings? The flag came out of the secondary. And now we await the official's call, but a good stop that time, and this may be on the Vikings. We saw Frederick Tompkins, and that's a huge break for the Rams defense. That moves the ball all the way back to the 12-yard line.
And that is a huge break for the Rams. You know, you got to be happy about that. Not only does that give you some breathing room,
yeah,
but it also helps us up here. We're about to have heart attacks.
and by the way, credit the Rams defense for stuffing that run play as well. 2 straight run plays, and then the penalty, of course, moves the ball back to this 12-yard line. So 2nd and goal, but ball now back to the 12.
Yeah, and if I'm the Rams D coordinator, I'm very confident in my pass defense.
Visser looking left, floats a pass up, contested. He comes down with it, incomplete. Is it a touchdown? And a flag on the play as well. We await the call. And Visser floated the ball up. Once again, he was looking for Jagari the third, and this may be pass interference on the offense. I think it may be. And it is. So Jagari the third came down with the ball. He was out of bounds, then he gets called for a penalty. So 2 huge breaks here for the Rams defense. And yeah, he pushed off his defender. And by the way, credit the Rams defender. That was Michael Williams, the freshman, in on coverage. And now the ball's moved way back all the way to the 27-yard line off the 15-yard penalty. So just a couple huge breaks for this Ram defense.
Yeah, fades are really tough to cover, especially if they're throwing back shoulder like that. But that was a great job by the DB to stay in the receiver's face and force him to push off of him in order to get open.
2nd and goal from the 27. Rams defense imploring another stop from the sidelines. A screenplay to Sturgis Kofor. He's into open space across the 20, trying to get some of those penalty yards back. Is there another flag down? And this may be another hold on the Vikings. So the Vikings, after being all the way to the 2-yard line, have just shot themselves in the foot on like 3 straight plays here. And we talked earlier about who will make the fewest mistakes. We've seen a few by the Rams, and now we're seeing several by the Vikings. And right now, Jimmy Collins is, first of all, imploring his team to get back on the sideline, but he's also assessing whether he wants to accept this penalty. You might almost want to decline it and set up 3rd and 18. I'm not sure what you go with here, because that would have to force, of course, if you accept a hold here, that forces them to replay the 2nd down. So he's chatting things over with the officials. Are they going to decline the hold?
It appears that there has been a penalty on us.
Wow. So we'll await the penalty, but either way, the Rams still counting their blessings. So after all that, the ball's now moved down to the 8-yard line. So obviously a penalty on the Rams. I couldn't hear the call from the officials, so I'm not sure what it was. May have been a hold on the defense. So 3rd and 8, huge play right now. Unsportsmanlike conduct, perhaps. Either way, 3rd and 8. Yeah. Because it was technically a 2nd and goal situation, despite the long field, that moves the ball half the distance to the goal. So 3rd and goal from the 8.
Got to watch a slant play here or out route. One of those two.
Sturgis Kofor in the backfield. Jagari in the slot. Visser back to pass. Sturgis Kofor has the ball caught and then slips into the end zone for a Vikings touchdown. And someone blew their assignment that time. Sturgis Kofor, we talked about it earlier, Brandon. These running backs have been getting left open in the passing game, and we saw that right there. Sturgis Kofor just went about 10 yards, stopped, had a pass completion, and all he had to do was fall forward. And just like that, the Vikings have fought all the way back. And they take a 3-point lead with a chance, with a huge extra point coming up to make it a 4-point lead. And now the pressure is on the Rams offense, which has struggled all day long.
Yeah, and this is not the situation that the Rams wanted. Your offense has been inconsistent the entire game, and now it's up to them to save the game. The defense held out as long as they could, but we know that eventually you're going to bend and bend and bend, but there are times where you're going to break, and the defense broke.
And the team from Pleasant Hill, California, just like that, has fought all the way back. They were down 7-0 for the majority of this ball game. Rams went up 10-0, and then scoop and score on a fumble recovery by the Vikings defense. And now we see the Vikings almost get themselves out of field position with several penalties. The Rams commit one of their own penalties, which moves the ball inside the 8, and that is just enough for the first actual touchdown drive by this Vikings defense. It's 14-10. Still plenty of time to go in this ball game, but now the ball is squarely in the hands of this Rams offense.
Now, this is one of those, how bad do you want it?
Yeah,
how
this is
bad,
a championship drive right here.
Yeah, this is where you this is makes or breaks your team for the rest of the season. This is momentum for the season. Do you want to be conference champions? Do you want to win this game? This will all be determined by this drive. I don't like overhyping things, Aaron, but this is a very important drive. This is a do or die drive. We might be seeing them going for it on fourth down.
Oh, absolutely. This may be the drive that decides the game, and I'm sure it will be. Oliver Saunders, Savon Edwards back to return deep for the Rams. A big return here would be huge as well, and that could help set this Rams offense up for success. We'll see if the Vikings try to kick it short or try to boom it through the end zone. They do kick it short. Edwards at the 15 with some space. Edwards slips a tackler across the 30. Edwards to the 35. Nice return by Savon that time, and that'll set the Rams up at about the 37-yard line. So this is it in terms of make or break, and look who's back in the ball game at quarterback. Well, now I beg your pardon. That may be premature. I apologize because I saw number 10, and no, it's Ethan Bullock. So Bullock will stay in the game. He was benched for a few drives, and he has a chance to be a hero here. 5:12 to go. Rams start at the 36-yard line. Down 4. Need a touchdown here on this drive. Anthony Hurd, and a beautiful tackle in the backfield. Hurd had nowhere to run, and it looks like Robert Davis III, or rather Robin Nasali, who's been on both sides of the ball today. He's been a fullback as well on offense. He stopped Hurd in the backfield for a loss of 4. 2nd and 14 now from the 33.
Yeah, and you saw him waving his finger at the opposition saying, no, not today.
Yeah. Big stop that time. Bullock rolls left, and pass underthrown to Christian Willis. Willis may have not gotten much because he had Darrell Walker all over him as well in coverage. That's 3rd and now 13 from the 33-yard line.
Yeah, this is a very bad situation for your offense. 3rd and 13, fourth quarter, 4 minutes and 37 seconds to go. You got to convert here. You got to at least get to like within 2 or 3 yards of the first down.
Bullock shouting orders at the line. 4 receivers for the Rams. Bullock from shotgun. Back to pass with time. Looking deep. He's got Kendon Robinson open, and he just overthrew his receiver. Robinson beat both defenders that time. He was one-on-one with Antoine Prowess. He also beat the safety, and just out of the reach of Robinson, and that'll force a Rams punt. And the Rams, with 2 timeouts left, will try and put it in the hands of their defense and see if they can get the ball back. But if he catches that ball in stride, Kendon Robinson might be gone for a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm sad, and I'm not even the coach. That was just you floated a little bit less, and he's got it right in his hands. Bullock has not been making the throws he needs to this game. We've seen him miss the short ones, the long ones. He needs to make those throws.
Wobbly punt out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Not a great punt either by the Rams that time.
It goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
So, with 4:25 to go, Rams do have 2 timeouts. Right now, it is vitally important that this defense try and get this offense off the field to give their offense a chance to try and come back in this one. Still some time left in this game, Brandon, but right now you got to think if you get a couple of first downs, this one might get out of reach.
Yeah, and just this defense, I know they're tired. They've been playing well, but and you see now, The running back's starting to get to a point where he's going to break away.
Austin Williams, a nice run on first down. Williams got the ball all the way down up to the 46-yard line on a 6-yard run on first down. Rams down 4 minutes and ticking left in this one. Can the Rams keep their season alive at 4-2?
Yeah, this is if you want to be a champion, you got to win championship games. You got to win games like this. These are the games that define you as a team.
Sturgis Kofer has first down yardage. It looks like he just got enough for the first down. That'll move the chains. Now the question is, when do the Rams start burning their timeouts? The clock will stop momentarily while they move the chains. But now they'll wind the clock again. 3:33 and ticking. Rams have 2 timeouts left. And you got to think they probably cannot afford to give up another first down here.
The defense needs a turnover. They need to have a turnover. They better hope. They need to stop the run of this Vikings team. And then they need to, if they pass, they need to intercept the ball.
1st and 10 from the Rams 46. Visser in the shotgun. Turns, gives to Williams. Williams breaks free. Stiff arms a tackler. He's got enough for a first down and then some, all the way down to the 30-yard line. Clock will stop momentarily again while they move the chains and set the football. But this Rams defense, which has played so well today, you can clearly see they're starting to get just a little bit tired. First down run, Sturgis Kofer right up the middle. He's dragging tacklers.
Whether it's new people or it's the fact that you thought, is it okay? Yeah, you have with you have Eric field producing, and then you have a camera team over there. So you guys just.
So, now City College will call their second timeout. So a timeout called by the Rams, and now 2nd and 1. So 2:12 to go. There is no 2-minute warning in JUCO football, so basically make or break here. Rams just desperately trying to get the ball back in the hands of their offense. 2nd and 1. Ball at the 21-yard line. This Rams defense, which has been done so well today, starting to run out of gas. Sturgis Kofer hitting the backfield, escapes, and then falls forward. Ball's on the ground. This may be City football. There's a scrum for it. Rams signaling like they have it, and they do! Rams come up with a fumble with 2 minutes to go. There's some life left in the City College sideline. It was Sturgis Kofer who fought for just a hard-fought 2 yards. He got enough for the first down. The ball came out, and right now the referees are conferring. I think the Vikings are trying to say that maybe he was down by contact. The referee initially signaled that he was a fumble recovered by the Rams, and I think if they overturn this, Jimmy Collins might literally blow a gasket. Referee still conferring. This is a huge call right now, and we await the call. And the runners ruled down by contact. No fumble. And that'll force Jimmy College to call his last timeout. So Jimmy Collins and the Rams just not getting any calls today. I mean, we saw what could have been a pass interference in an earlier drive. We saw what could have been an interception by the Rams and probably should have been called incomplete. And then we see the ball come out. The Rams initially recovered. It was called a fumble on the field. Referees confirmed, then overturned the call, which doesn't happen very often. So right now, at least the clock is stopped. I guess that's the only benefit if you're the Rams defense. It's also 3rd and 1. So the Vikings were stopped short of the first down. So critically important 3rd down here. Don't forget, if the Rams are able to hold the Vikings to a field goal attempt, even if the Vikings make the field goal here, the Rams still have a shot. They can get back in this game down 7. But anything more than that, a first down or obviously a touchdown would most certainly put this game out of reach.
Yeah, definitely. This is the most important play of the entire game right here. This is the play.
3rd and 1 from the 21-yard line. 1 yard of offense may spell the end of this ball game for the Rams. It's Austin Williams in the backfield. Rams stack the box on defense. And Visser keeps it, pitches it, fumble! And it's recovered by the Vikings, but the ball moves backwards. That brings up 4th and 11, and now decision time for the Vikings. They'd be looking at about a 50-yard field goal from this spot. Don't go anywhere, folks. This one's not over yet. It was a pitch play. I thought Visser was going to keep it himself. Instead, he tried to pitch it backwards to Austin Williams. Williams couldn't handle the pitch. He was fortunate to fall back on it. Ball moves all the way back to the 31-yard line, and it's now 4th and long. And now the Vikings are going to be forced to go for it on offense. So this is a huge play. This is the play of the game for the Rams. And we'll see if they might try to just get this Rams offense a jump, or a defensive jump rather. And a fumble on the bad snap, and the Rams have recovered. And Visser wasn't ready for the snap. It went right off his helmet. And just like that, the Rams have the ball back with Tadarius Patterson falling on it. So that's even better than a stop. Rams get the ball back, 1:11 to go, with a chance to come back down 4. They take over at the 34-yard line. This game is not over yet.
Oh my goodness, this game has been insane. Both of these offenses have turned the ball over in such critical moments, and that by far is the most critical moment we've had in this entire game, ladies and gentlemen. That was a horrible turnover.
Wow, and it was just Nick Visser not ready for the snap. There was some miscommunication with his center. Bullock and the Rams offense with a chance to come back. 5 receivers, empty backfield. Bullock looking left. It's caught, and across the 50 goes Ezra Grace, out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 1:05 to go. Rams on the move on offense here. Big run and catch by Grace and the Rams. And this Rams sideline all of a sudden coming to life. Bullock, hurry up offense. Clock is stopped. Bullock with 5 receivers. He's back to pass. Bullock looking left. It's incomplete. He was looking for Grace once again. That'll stop the clock right at 1 minute to go.
Yeah, it appears to be a penalty. I'm not sure if it's on DIABLO or for City.
Yeah, and there was a penalty. I actually didn't see the play. So good eye there that time. And it's on the defense.
All right, this has been Brandon Powell. I've been your colorful commentator. It's been a pleasure working with you, Aaron. It's been a pleasure with commentating for you folks, and now I am signing off.
So Brandon will head down to the field. Rams with a minute to go, down 4. Can they complete a comeback here after being up most of this game? Bullock back to pass, under pressure, steps up in the pocket, looking across the middle of the field. It's intercepted by the Vikings. Bullock was looking for Ezra Grace once again, and Ronnie Preston, the sophomore from Antioch, California, comes up with a huge interception. And now the Rams are saying that ball may have hit the ground. So it may not be over yet. And it's incomplete. So Preston thought he had a turnover, Instead, the Rams stay alive. 2nd and 5 following a near interception that fell for an incompletion. Empty backfield again. Bullock back to pass. Under pressure, avoids the pressure, steps up, has a receiver. Across the 20, 1st down and then some, and fighting for extra yardage is Trevion Drummer. He's out of bounds to the 20, 39 seconds and ticking. Clock keeps rolling. Rams with no timeouts left. And now we'll spike the ball with 31 seconds left inside the 25-yard line at the 20. Rams 20 yards away from trying to complete a comeback here. So it was a near interception by Preston, and then it was Trevion Drummer who caught the pass near the sideline, tried to get out of bounds. And with 29 seconds, the clock stops after Ethan Bullock just throws the ball on the ground. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Ezra Grace in the slot down low, along with Drummer and Willis. 2 receivers up top. Empty backfield again. Bullock back to pass on 2nd down. Under pressure. Steps up. Bullock keeps it. Bullock has a chance to score. Bullock down to the 5-yard line. He's got to get up quickly and snap this ball. He picks up a 1st down. Clock stops momentarily. Rams inside the 5. Bullock will call the play. He'll stop the clock, but Rams are knocking at the door. 21 seconds to go. Rams about to be at the 3-yard line. And what a aware play by Ethan Bullock. He had no receivers open. He stepped up in the pocket. He almost scored there. And they spot the ball inside the 5-yard line at the 2. 2nd and goal for the Rams. 21 seconds to go. City College trying to keep their season alive with what would be a huge home victory. Bullock with Hurd in the backfield. He has Robinson and Willis down low. For the season, Bullock rolls right, looking right. It's caught in the end zone. It's a touchdown! Kendon Robinson Jr. He ran a curl route to the corner, and Ethan Bullock gets mobbed by his sideline. Touchdown, Rams. They're back on top by 2. What a comeback by this Rams offense. With 16 seconds to go, they have a chance to make it a 3-point lead. It's been a roller coaster of emotions for the Rams. They've struggled on offense all day. They nearly turned the ball over to end this game. Instead, it's Ethan Bullock showing a gutsy drive with just seconds left, and the Rams have a chance to make it a 3-point lead with just 16 seconds left and rip the heart out of the Vikings. What a comeback by City College and their offense. And right now, the Rams have yet to line up for the extra point. This is, by the way, a huge extra point. It would make it a 3-point game. An excessive celebration was called, by the way. It was a very late flag, and that could be big here, and it looks like they will enforce that on the kickoff and not on the extra point. Nonetheless, the Rams have retaken the lead. It's 16-14 right now with 16 seconds to go here in this ball game. And what a drive by Ethan Bullock. He struggled mightily in that first half. He threw an interception on a very poor pass. He also was under pressure by that very tough, aggressive Vikings pass rush. And nonetheless, he comes up with just a gut check drive here in the closing seconds of this 4th quarter, bringing his team all the way down the field. How about that pass to Ezra Grace? And then he finds number 2, Kendon Robinson Jr. in the end zone with 16 seconds to go. And that brought the house down. And that was, I beg your pardon, that was Christian Willis. And another flag on the play. And it looks like the Rams may not even line up for an extra point here, by the way. Interesting decision by the Rams. And they're going to go with what is essentially a victory formation here on the extra point try. So maybe the Rams, thinking that they want to avoid something like a blocked extra point. That's the only thing I can think of for why they would decline to attempt the extra point here. But it's a 2-point game, 16-14 with 16 seconds to go. So the Rams will kick the ball off here. You got to think that Larry Grant is imploring his special teams coverage team that they got to obviously bottle up the return team. And right now, you want to obviously, of course, try and kick the ball as deep as you can. And we'll see when it's all said and done how many seconds are left once this Vikings offense takes back over. But, I mean, what a tough end of this game if you're the Vikings. They came all the way back. They were down by 7, then down by 10. They come up with a fumble recovery for a touchdown. They didn't go on another drive for a touchdown. The first real drive given up in terms of a scoring drive by this Rams defense. And then after nearly giving the game up with a late interception, instead the Rams catch a break of their own. It falls incomplete. And just a couple plays later, Ethan Bullock throws a touchdown pass in the closing seconds to put the Rams back up on top and gets mobbed by a sideline in the process.
Okay, back to camera 2. Camera 3, I want you to get on the return down. Oh my God. Who scored that touchdown? Fair enough. Sorry, not quite sure.
And there was a penalty called on the Vikings. And this will be, I guess, so the Rams will be kicking off from the 35-yard line, and it's essentially an onside kick. It's taken by the Vikings running backwards, and they try to just lateral the ball here. And an illegal pass thrown, and that may be a safety because that pass was thrown in the end zone. So a bit of a messy into this game here. Obviously, the Vikings down by 2. And the Rams will take things over. This may be one of the weirdest ends to a game I've ever seen in football.
I've never seen this before.
The Rams, first of all, kicked off from the Vikings 35-yard line, something you almost never see. It was essentially a squib kick. Obviously, the Rams not wanting any kind of return opportunity for the Vikings. Vikings take over at their own 1-yard line after the illegal forward pass on the return. So the Rams do keep the ball. And with 8 seconds to go, you got to think they're just going to try and chuck the ball up here. And if you're the Rams, obviously, you're playing about as deep as you can possibly play. The Rams have 3 safeties essentially back at midfield. Vikings will snap the ball in their own end zone from the 1-yard line with 8 seconds to go. Vikings down 2. Visser completes to Sahugan. He laterals backwards, and the ball is lateraled again. And then it's in the hands of the Rams, who score at the very end of the game. And just like that, the Rams tack on 7 more points. It's Avery Burt. And why not give Avery Burt a touchdown at the end of this game? He had 3 sacks in this game. He was instrumental to the defense keeping the Rams in this one. Ethan Bullock with the late heroics. And when it's all said and done, the Rams are going to win by a score of 22-14. It was a weird end to the game, but it was late heroics by Ethan Bullock and this Rams offense who struggled mightily all day. And that was a championship drive. The Rams keep their season alive. They're still in contention for both a Base 6 conference championship as well as a state title. And this may have been one of the most dramatic wins in recent history by the City College team, as the teams will meet at midfield to shake hands. What a gut check win by number 11, Ethan Bullock, by this Rams defense. This game had a bit of everything today. It was a dramatic win to say the least, but give a lot of credit to how this Rams offense finally responded and was able to put together a championship-type game-winning drive against a very, very gutsy Vikings defense. And we will also be joined by Brandon Powell. He'll have an interview on the sideline coming up shortly, and hopefully with Rams quarterback Ethan Bullock. So the Rams, after being up 10-0, were then up 10-7. They saw the Vikings come back, take a 4-point lead. It looked like the Vikings were going to add to that. The Vikings then turned the ball over on downs, putting the ball back in the hands of the Rams offense with 2 minutes to go. The Rams almost turned the ball over at the very end of the game. Instead, it was Ethan Bullock finding his receiver, Kendon Robinson Jr., at the very end of the game with just 16 seconds to go. And the Rams, when it's all said and done, are winners 22-14 here, and they move to 5-2. They get their first win of the Bay Valley Conference schedule, by the way, and they improve to 5-2. They improved to 1-1 in the Bay 6, and like Jimmy Collins said after the tough loss to Laney, they control their own destiny in this season. They still have a chance to win out should they win the rest of their schedule. They have a chance to win the rest of their league games, and they have a chance to still compete for that state title if they can win out and then defeat CSM, the undefeated number 2 team in all of California, CSM, who really took a beating today to the Laney Eagles. So the Rams, gut check victory to say the least, and just a game that had a little bit of everything. It was an emotional roller coaster today for the Rams. But give a lot of credit to the Vikings as well. Their defense came to play, and their defense was able to really stop the Rams for the entire game except for that final drive, and give both defenses a lot of credit. The Rams themselves were also forced to try and stop the Vikings offense at the very end of the game. Vikings scored a touchdown. That made it 14-10, and then, of course, that game-winning drive by the Rams at the end of the game put them over the top. So the Rams, who, as I said a moment ago, moved to 5-2 now. After this, they have 2 more road games. They will travel to play Chabot on a night game in Hayward, and then play another evening game in Santa Rosa. Those games are on November 2nd and November 9th, respectively. They then come home and close out the season with what is all intents and purposes a huge rivalry game against the CSM Bulldogs, and that'll be a huge game. That'll be our next broadcast here on Rams TV. And a very frustrated DVC Vikings team, which gave the Rams all they can handle and then some, will drop to 3-4 on the season and 0-2 in the Bay 6 Conference. The Rams, who came into this game with 390 yards of offense as a team, they were well under that today. So give the, like I said before, give the Vikings defense a whole lot of credit. They really came in and they had a game plan against the Rams offense. They knew that they wanted to put a lot of pressure on Ethan Bullock, and really for most of this game, I think it really worked. Bullock was forced into a lot of quick throws. He threw an interception. The Rams, of course, coughed the ball up a couple times. You saw the handoff to Jarmar Julian, which resulted in the opening touchdown by City College, or I'm sorry, by the Vikings. And then, of course, give a whole lot of credit to this Rams defense. They knew that they had to stop number 4, Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer. He had 1 touchdown on a reception, touchdown reception. And then that was really the only offensive momentum that they got all game. As we await, we will get a post-game interview, so stand by for that, everyone who's watching still. Brandon Powell is on the sideline. He will interview a Rams player. Anthony Hurd, another player who was really instrumental in that second half. And it's interesting because Hurd is a guy that we really often saw throughout the first 6 games of the season start the games, and then we mostly saw Jarmar Julian and DeMonte Alim close games. And today, Jimmy Collins kind of flipped the script. We saw DeMonte Alim and Jarmar Julian start the game. The Vikings really did not give up a whole lot on the ground to start this game. And meanwhile, it was a nasty pass rush that created a whole lot of problems for Ethan Bullock. But Bullock, who interestingly enough, was actually benched in this game. Bullock saw Jacob Cruz come in the game and replace him. And then Jacob Cruz threw an interception of his own, and after that, it was Bullock for the remainder of this game. And he had a chance to play hero. And really, you gotta think that's a huge confidence booster for Ethan Bullock, who he struggled last week against Laney. Him and his entire offense struggled for most of today. But when it mattered in the final moments of the game, with 2 minutes remaining, he goes on a championship drive. He sees his return man, Savon Edwards, put his team in very good field position, which I think. You saw Ethan go 65 yards, and Ethan will be joined now on the sideline by Brandon Powell, and it'll be interesting to get Ethan's thoughts and see, despite the fact that he struggled, see how he was able to put his team on his back and win. So Ethan Bullock is standing now on the sideline with Brandon Powell.
Playing like we were, now to play like that on the last drive, it's a lot to build forward to in the next week.
So it probably took a lot of mental toughness because you were struggling at the beginning of the game, and Jimmy even benched you a couple of times. So what was going through your head? What helped you get through that and for you to be able to drive down and save the game like you did?
I just know Coach Collins has our best interests in mind. It's not about me, it's about the team. We got to switch it up to get some rhythm going, get some mojo going. That's what we're going to do. I'm here not as a player, but as a teammate for all these guys. It's our goal. We talk about we all the time. There's no I in us, so it's really just whatever it takes to get the W. I'm ready to do whatever. So.
Got it. And you guys are now going to have to win out in order to be able to go to the conference championships. How do you feel about that, and having that challenge? Especially, you're going to have to play 2 road games. What's your mindset going to those road games to help you guys, pull out those victories?
When coaches preach, being elite, being a City College Ram, all the history, this is what you look forward to. Games like this, win out to be great. That's what City College is about. We always want to rise to a challenge. We always want to challenge. We don't want the 73 to 7 wins. We want the wins that matter. So we're going to accept the challenge. We're going to work hard during the week. We're going to give it our all, and then it's up to everything else.
All right, thank you, Bullock. I know you must be really tired from that game. It was definitely hard fought.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for your time.
For the time.
Got it. Thank you very much. All right, this has been Brendan Powell. I'm with the one more. Oh, okay. Look who it is. All right, never mind. We got another player here. Hello, how you doing, Mr. Willis, correct? Robinson. Okay, my bad, wrong name. So, Mr. Robinson, tell me, how does it feel to pull out that win?
Man, it feels great. It came down to the last second. We showed the grit that the team has, and it feels great.
That's excellent. So going into next game, what's you guys' mindset going in? Because now you're going to have to win out in order to get to conference. How confident are you guys in yourselves to be able to do that?
I mean, we're confident. We just got to focus on what we need to get better at. We got our offense. We need to get all our mistakes out of there. Our defense they carried us the whole game. So, we just got to get better, and that's about it. And we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, and then just one more thing before you go. Your offense struggled at the beginning of the game, but then you had that really clutch drive that really sealed it. So tell me, what was going through your head? What helped you guys to stay focused even through adversity?
Well, we know what we can do, so we just got to go with the game plan and just handle our business, and it worked.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. You have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. All right, now this is me officially signing off. Thank you very much. That's Brandon Powell. I've been your interviewer and your commentator. Appreciate it.
You heard from.
Have a good day.
You heard from Ethan Bullock. You heard from Kendon Robinson. And despite this Rams offense really struggling all day, they were able to make big plays when it mattered. And I really like to think that's a championship drive. And that's got to be inspiring for this Rams team going forward. They have a tough matchup against Chabot, a bit of an easier matchup against SRJC, and then, of course, the big game, the rivalry game against the Bulldogs to close the regular season. The Rams will move to 5-2. They will improve to 1-1 in the Bay Valley Conference, and it was a game that had everything, but it saw the Rams come out on top and survive at home against the Vikings. So, for Brandon Powell, my color commentator, for our executive producer, Misha Antonich, producer and technical director, Chuck Niccolo, and the rest of our Bima crew, this is Aaron Turner saying have a great afternoon, everyone. Once again, your final score here at City College of San Francisco. The Rams are winners, 22-14, and we'll see you next time for the season finale.